The following is a presentation of the FC Dallas Radio Network.
Patrickson will take it from the opposite side, in swinging service, whipped in, more air underneath this one towards the back post. Urugide scores! Osaze Urugide in the big moment gives Dallas the lead. As things stand, they're in the playoffs, and what a moment.
FC Dallas broke a 20-year streak last Saturday, defeating New York Red Bulls at Sports Illustrated 2-0 for the first time since 2006. The squad returns home for their final two home games before the World Cup break starting tonight with a match against Real Salt Lake. Pablo Mastroeni's men sit right above Dallas in the Western Conference, but have built their success off 5 home wins so far. It's a 6-point showdown tonight in Frisco between FC Dallas and Real Salt Lake. Along the lines of the FC Dallas Radio Network, it is the FC Dallas pregame show brought to you tonight by your local Toyota dealer, Toyota. Let's go places. On tonight's presentation, we'll have the sounds of tonight's match. Your broadcast team for the evening, Ryan Figert and Steve Davis, will join me to break down the important tactics, storylines for tonight's home matchup here against the Cobalt and Claret. But as we do for all home matches, we bring in the FC Dallas Insider. You can find his fine work on FCDallas.com. And, of course, he's a member of both the FC Dallas Agenda and the Build-Up. It is, of course, the great Garrett Meltzer. Garrett, it feels like I just saw you in this exact room like 24 hours ago as we were getting ready for this one on the Build-Up last night.
Here, Sam, but it's good to be here again, and it's always more exciting with the game in front of us rather than just previewing stuff.
Well, and that's going to be something we're going to be missing here in just a couple days. This is the penultimate match for FC Dallas at Toyota Stadium before they depart on a 9-match road trip that extends past the World Cup break. And obviously they'll play Salt Lake tonight. They get Vancouver on Wednesday, and we'll talk about that as we get to the midweek match. But with 6 points hanging in the balance here, especially against teams right above Dallas in the Western Conference standings, these will be tough matches, but they really need to get as many points as possible out of them.
Yeah, most importantly is the 6 points that are up for grabs, but I also think there's a big mental side of this one because the team after these 2 games is going to be on a month-long road trip, essentially. Basically, FC Dallas's version of the rodeo road trip that the San Antonio Spurs go on. I think it's going to be really important for Dallas to at least get one win out of these 2, just to kind of get the monkey off their back in terms of the tough home form, winless in the last 3 at Toyota Stadium. Because during that road trip, I think Dallas is going to use that next home game in September as kind of the North Star to guide them home. But you want to be looking forward to that game. You don't want to be worried about it thinking, well, we're good on the road, but we've been a little bit disappointing sometimes at home. So I think it's really important to get a win and start feeling good before you go on your travels for the next couple months.
And that game's going to be against Sporting Kansas City as well, which is not exactly a stiff challenge so far as they're competing for the Wooden Spoon early here in 2026. Well, the 11 that is charged with trying to get 3 points tonight, it's Michael Collodi in net, Herman Johansson, Osaze Urugide, Shaq Moore, and Nolan Norris on your back line. You've got Ron Benjamin, Kaique, Ramiro, and Joaquin Valiente in midfield supporting Santi Moreno and Peter Musa. It's the same lineup as last week against the Red Bulls. And, of course, last week featured Peter Musa returning to the starting lineup. He scores a goal. That puts him on 10 for the season. He is well within the breaking point of hopefully 19 this year to set the new record. He's tied with Hugo Kuipers, who had an improbable hat trick for the Fire last week. But this is going to be one of those where as you head on the road for 9 and you play some good teams coming up, specifically in Vancouver and Real Salt Lake, goals could be at a premium, but this is why you have a DP player like Peter Musa.
Yeah, Peter Musa doesn't really care who the opponent is. He just wants to score goals. And, look, he's having one of the best starts to an MLS season in FC Dallas history, atop the Golden Boot standings, like you said. And he's just so important to how the team plays. But I'm really excited to see this the same formation and system being run back by Eric Quill as we saw last week. Because I really think it suits this team well, defending in a 4-4-2, and then Herman Johansson having license to break forward when Dallas gets the ball. I think that fits him really well because he's better in attack than defense, but it also puts Nolan Norris in a good spot where he can be a defense-first fullback and then kind of slide in the middle and be the third center back. I just think it fits the profiles of a lot of these players, and I'm excited to see it run back again tonight.
And on the other side, we've actually got a really good goalkeeper matchup tonight, Rafa Cabral versus Michael Collodi. Both are in the top 10 of net goals allowed, as they both have been pretty good. Cabral has been elite. But this is going to be a very challenging game for Michael Collodi specifically because he had nothing to do last week against the Red Bulls, no saves, and that 2-0 clean sheet. But tonight, Diego Luna, Sergi Solans, you've got Xavier Gozo, you've got just a whole host of attacking points would be a very good day for old Captain Collodi to put on his superhero cape and try to save Dallas and help them get those 3 points.
For sure, I would expect him to have a little bit more work than he did last week in New York, where Dallas looked really comfortable defensively and didn't give up a shot on goal. But I'm excited to see Collodi once again because I think he's kind of recovered from a little bit of a dip in form he had at the beginning of April. I think maybe he got a little bit too comfortable at times and started being guilty of being a bit overconfident, coming off his line when he probably didn't need to because of a covering defender, and maybe coming for some crosses that, there may be too many bodies in the way for him to get a clean punch at things. Seems like he's reined that back in just a little bit over the last 2 to 3 games, but he's going to be tested tonight, so he'll need to be at full focus for sure.
And we've already mentioned the defense a little bit, specifically Nolan Norris is what I want to talk about, because going back to the Seattle game, we've kind of seen him grow into his role. He's done it all season, but really the last 2 games. Specifically last week, he got his first big test against a very speedy Cade Cowell, and outside of a couple of moments in the first 5 minutes or so, he really held up well until Cowell came out of the game for the Red Bull. Well, tonight it's going to be Xavier Gozo running at him, and that's about as much speed as you can get in MLS these days. It's going to be a big test for him, but there's nothing that Nolan hasn't done over the last about 10 games to show that he can handle it.
It's a huge test for him because we know Nolan is a fantastic defender. He's excellent with the ball at his feet, but he's not the quickest one. So he's got to be very, very careful to not let Xavier Gozo get in behind him. And normally when you're up against a really speedy and tricky winger, you kind of are able to back off him and just keep him in front of you and just know that that's safe. The problem is Gozo also can shoot from distance. He's not afraid to let loose from 25 yards, and he's scored some fantastic goals this season. So he can hurt you in a lot of different ways, and that's why I think Eric Quill is going to try to design this a little bit so that Nolan doesn't really have to be one-on-one with Xavier Gozo. I think Ron Benjamin at that left mid/left wingback spot is going to be asked fairly often to come back and try to 2v1 Gozo more often than not and not leave Nolan Norris on an island, because that's just not a place you want to be against a player like Xavier Gozo in the form that he's in.
No, you most certainly do not, and I love that you mentioned Ron Benjamin because he had a little bit of a coming-out party last week. He got the start against Seattle, and we're like, okay, let's see some more, and then he promptly got a lot more against the Red Bull, including that masterful assist to Petar Musa on what ended up being the winning goal for Dallas. And he's playing in an unnatural position. He's normally a central midfielder. They're playing him as a left midfielder pretty much in this formation. And I'm curious how you think we're going to see him change and develop from last week, getting his first look at it, to now he's had 90-plus minutes in it, and he's going to be going up against a team that looks a little bit different shape-wise in Salt Lake.
Yeah, it's a great question because I was actually really impressed with Ron Benjamin last week. I thought playing a spot he wasn't not used to in MLS. He's only 22 years old, not a ton of experience in general. So being asked to play a new position is quite a difficult task. But I thought he did a great job. He got in the box, got on the end of things, almost had a goal, probably should have had a goal, but did force a good save from the goalkeeper. And then, like you said, had a masterful assist for Petar Musa. But he also did a lot of good defensive work as well, helping Nolan Norris. He's going to be asked to do basically the same thing tonight, but maybe just with a touch more defensive side of the game because of the danger that we talked about with Xavier Gozo down that right side of Real Salt Lake. Dallas is left. It's going to be a big test for him and for Nolan Norris just behind him.
Meanwhile, as Salt Lake comes in here 6th in the Western Conference on 19 points, Dallas right below them at 16. And this has been a bit of a surprise because you look at the Real Salt Lake offseason, and we didn't expect Gozo to break out. Obviously, Diego Luna has been a star for a couple years now, but they sold off a decent amount. They brought in a lot of late transfers, including a DP, basically during training camp. And Pablo Mastroeni is just like, yeah, no problem. I got this thing humming. It's pretty impressive. What do you see that they've done that they've been able to recover from a bottom 5 offseason to now a legit Western Conference playoff team?
I think it's just a really well-rounded team. There's a lot of MLS experience, especially at the back. Justin Glad, who's out tonight, but DeAndre Yedlin, of course, a longtime international for the U.S. men's national team, and Sam Junka as well back there, our lovely Sam Junka, former FC Dallas player, playing at left center back for them. And then ahead of them, a lot of running in midfield with Callie Scott and Spearings. And then, of course, the 3 live wires in Gozo, Diego Luna, and Sergi Solans. I think just they've got a lot of talent, but they're very well balanced. And then, of course, like any Pablo Mastroeni team, they're fierce competitors. They get in your face and they take it at you. Dallas is going to have their hands full tonight because this is a Real Salt Lake team that's super fun to watch, but super talented and super dangerous on the attacking end. Yeah,
this is going to be one of the more exciting games on the MLS slate tonight. I hope there's some casuals. We know there's some U.S. soccer scouts in the house tonight. And, hey, there's some guys on this FC Dallas team looking at you, Shaq, more that they might want to be paying attention to.
Nolan Norris as well.
Nolan Norris as well. Although I think that may be more for a 2030 appearance, hopefully, in that case.
Bit of a homer pick there from me. But, hey, the U.S. men's national team could definitely use a left-sided center back, and Nolan Norris has been doing pretty good recently, so why not?
Hey, I'm here on the Nolan Norris agenda, so you're going to get no argument from me. But that is Garrett Meltzer. You can find his fine work on FCDallas.com. He's on all the socials at Garrett Meltzer, and he'll join me and Steve on halftime coverage tonight. Garrett, thank you. We'll talk to you at halftime.
Thanks for having me, Sam.
When we return here on the FC Dallas Radio Network, we will have the sounds of tonight's match. You're listening to FC Dallas Soccer, presented by Toyota, here on the FC Dallas Radio Network.
You push your body hard in the name of fitness. Sure, it's for a good cause. But a good cause shouldn't mean sacrificing a good time. Michelob Ultra, superior light beer. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Hey campers, it's Jan from Toyota. This summer, we're headed to Camp Toyota, and the fun starts now! We're kicking things off by kicking up mud. Jump in, campers. We're going off-roading in a 4Runner. Next, we're heading to the hot springs in a RAV4. And finally, park your Tundras and Tacomas around the campfire because we're roasting marshmallows. Your summer starts here.
Dealer inventory may vary. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Event ends June 1st. Toyota, let's go places.
Want to hear something incredible? That's Eleanor. Just 10 hours after being born, Eleanor was airlifted to Children's Health and met by our expert team trained in cardiac and critical care. At 4 days old, she received a stent to help her heart pump blood to the rest of her body. And today, she's a happy, healthy 1-year-old. That's incredible. That's Children's Health. Incredible together.
When you don't compromise on the court, you shouldn't compromise off of it either. Lose the calories, not the taste. Michelob Ultra, superior light beer. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri. Copyright 2024.
Winner, winner, Chick-fil-A dinner. All season long, when FC Dallas wins at home, fans win free Chick-fil-A. Be sure your Chick-fil-A app is up to date. Location services are turned on when you attend matches at Toyota Stadium. After the team wins, before you leave your seats, open the app to redeem the Chick-fil-A offer. Welcome back to the FC Dallas pregame shows. We're getting ready for FC Dallas versus Real Salt Lake tonight. It's presented by Toyota. In our next segment, Ryan Figert and Steve Davis will join me. We'll break down tonight's lineups, tactics, everything you need to know about this Western Conference six-pointer. But first, I want to tell you about the FC Dallas Radio Network podcast feed, which is available everywhere you get free podcasts. Of course, we've got the signature post-game show, which goes live after the final whistle here on the radio network. Highlights, stats, analysis, everything you need to know in a nice 30-minute or so package about the game that was. There's no better source for game analysis right after the final whistle than the FC Dallas post-game show. We finish it live here on the network, and then it goes up on the podcast feed shortly after for your Sunday commute, your Monday commute, whenever you want to get that post-game show goodness. We're in the middle, meanwhile, of FC Dallas Agenda Season 2. It's the official FC Dallas podcast. Of course, we have more extended analysis, big thoughts, a lot of fun at times, and, of course, interviews with all the biggest stars. Just this past week, we talked to Sam Sarver about his first MLS goal being scored up against the Red Bulls. Of course, Eric Quill's been on there. Petter Moose has been on there. Logan Farrington, Eric Quill, Andre Sonata, anyone that's anyone has been on the FC Dallas agenda as we're in the middle of Season 2. Of course, it'll drop on just about every Wednesday on non-congested match weeks. And just this year, we've introduced The Build-Up, our brand new preview show that goes live just about 24 hours before a game. In this case, we dropped it on Friday around 5 o'clock before today's RSL game. It'll be some combination of myself, Ryan, Steve, and Garrett, talking you through what we've seen at training during the week, some potential lineup ideas, any injuries that we might have noted, and giving you a bit more of a first-look preview at the opponent for the week. You'll also hear from Eric Quill most of the time on that show as well. It's a great little 20-minute capsule preview before we get to the pregame show here on the radio network. Those usually drop 24 hours before a match, almost always on home matches and on some away matches. So how do you get all this good content? Well, all you have to do is go to your podcast provider of choice, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get podcasts. Type in FC Dallas Radio Network and hit subscribe so you don't miss any of our great free content. Now it's time for the sounds of tonight's match, and this evening they come from manager Eric Quill.
Anytime you win, it's big for the psychology. It's been 4 games, and we played pretty well in not getting results, and so that's the hard part. But I think watching them this week and how they've trained, you can just see the spirit. That's what winning does, is brings the spirit back and the belief. So, but now it's back to being consistent. Can we get back-to-back wins? Massive. I mean, we know where we want to be by the time the break happens. We feel our goals are attainable. So it's maximizing every second you're on the field and making sure that you're locked in and it's not concentration arrows. The engagement has to be there. At this level, switching off at any point in time can burn you. So I think they know the goals are clear, the concepts are clear, the strategy is clear. So now it's about execution. Looking at what they want to do. It's what the value of having watched 12 games of an opponent. You see their tendencies, you see their patterns of play, you see their weapons, and making sure that they're not getting what they want from the game. And a lot easier said than done, but that's why we train and that's why we prepare. And now I've got guys that obviously showed last week the execution phase of what we can be. So I fully expect us to be on point again.
When we return here on the FC Dallas pregame show, Ryan Figert and Steve Davis join me to break down tonight's match. This is FC Dallas Soccer presented by Toyota on the FC Dallas Radio Network.
UT Southwestern Medical Center in Dallas, Texas, where discoveries change lives. The spark of collaboration that fuels bold thinking in our labs. The spark of inspiration that motivates greatness in the next generation. And the spark of innovation that pushes the boundaries of today's care. At UT Southwestern, teamwork and talent combine to fuel discovery, education, and healing. UT Southwestern, the future of medicine sparks here.
It's a moment when I show up, God, I'm saying wow.
Welcome to the world of WinStar, the casino of FC Dallas, where 10,000 electronic games plus roulette, craps, and blackjack is just the beginning. Get lost in our 2-story luxury spa, rest in one of our vast hotel towers, and catch the biggest names in music and comedy at the spectacular Lucas Oil Live, all just 1 hour north of DFW. So come live in the wow at the world of WinStar.
This is Logan Farrington, striker for FC Dallas. Behind every goal, there's a team you don't always see. The ones keeping everything running, secure, connected, ready. That's General Informatics. From cybersecurity to smarter IT solutions, General Informatics powers FC Dallas with advanced technology support so we can stay focused on the game. General Informatics. Complex IT made simple.
Welcome back to the FC Dallas pregame show presented by Toyota. We've got just over 20 minutes until kickoff here at Toyota Stadium. So let's go ahead and get you tonight's starting lineups. And this evening, those are brought to you by Advocare. We'll start first with the visiting Real Salt Lake and fifth-year head coach Pablo Mastroeni. Is Rafa Cabral in net tonight for the Claret and Cobalt? DeAndre Yedlin, the former U.S. M&T man, alongside Philip Quinton, who's in for Justin Glad, and former FC Dallas man Sam Junka across the back line for RSL. Xavier Gozo, the 19-year-old with 3 goals and 3 assists, plays one wingback. Juanma Sanabria is on the other side with him. Noel Caliscan and Stein Sparings are in the midfield tonight for Pablo Mastroeni. Diego Luna, the 22-year-old 10, who's finally getting his legs under him. He has 7 matches so far after starting the year on the bench. Morgan Gilavogi is alongside Sergi Solans up top tonight for the Cobalt and Claret. And now let's go ahead and get you the starting lineup for FC Dallas and second-year manager Eric Quill.
Michael Colodi, goalkeeper, Frisco, Texas.
Herman Johansson, wingback, Sweden.
Shaq Moore, right back, Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Osaze Origide, center back, Netherlands, Nijmegen.
Nolan Norris, midfielder, Fort Worth, Texas.
Joaquín Valiente, mediocampista, Uruguay.
Ramiro Benetti, midfielder, Brazil.
Kaique, midfield, Brazil.
Ron Binyamin, midfielder, Israel.
Santiago Moreno, mediocampista, Colombia.
Petar Musa, forward, from Zagreb, Croatia.
And the subs tonight for Dallas: Jonathan Sirois, Lalo Sabubakar, Patrick Delgado, Christian Kappas, Nick Simmons, Logan Farrington, Sebastian Biaga, Caleb Swan, and Sam Sarver. And now let's bring in our commentary team for the evening. It's Ryan Figert, it's Steve Davis. And Ryan, this is a 6-pointer for Dallas, albeit we're only about 12 matches into the early season. Dallas is at 7, Real Salt Lake is at 6. Real Salt Lake is on 19 points, Dallas is on 16. And while the playoffs will not start for many, many more months, with the World Cup break and Dallas going on an extended road trip, these ones matter a lot more than they normally would here in the month of May.
Yeah, it's a team that they've normally handled here at Toyota Stadium, a really positive record against Real Salt Lake here in Frisco, 14 wins, 8 draws, and just 2 losses all time. So it's just about taking care of business tonight against a team that's been better than expected in Real Salt Lake. They've hit on a couple of big signings with Guy Lavogie, Stein Spearings. They're getting production from young U.S. internationals like Xavier Gozo, Diego Luna. And they hit on a super draft striker, just like Dallas did with Logan Farrington. They've got Sergi Solans scoring goals for fun. It's going to be a difficult attack to contain tonight, but as you said, these points, particularly at home right now in the season, feels like it's going to be really important for setting the tone going forward.
And Steve, when we talk about this home form, it's been a large discussion, pretty much even going back to last year when Dallas's road form was better than the home form. You would say tonight you've got to at least get a draw out of this, especially with Vancouver looming on Wednesday in the midweek.
I mean, yeah, a draw would be okay. I think they've got to get a win tonight. They've got to start picking up more points at home. And at this point, they're getting a higher rate of point production on the road. And you said it yourself. I mean, after this game, they're a third of the way through the season. They got a game Wednesday coming up, and they don't play it at home again until September. So I think it's critical that they pick up more points at home, and it has to start tonight. And by the way, just a little bit of history here, sort of tonight, because for a long time, Saturday nights in the summer, if you're into soccer, it means Saturday nights at Toyota Stadium. Well, this is it. No more Saturday nights at Toyota Stadium again until September. So this one I think is really critical. That's, of course, because they got the big World Cup break, then they go on the road for a long time. So the next time they play a Saturday contest in the stadium, summer will have come and would be on the way out.
And theoretically, too, because the stadium will look a lot different with all the construction happening around. So, it'll look very different from what it does now, at least we hope as well. And Dallas on the field last week, Steve, looked a little different than we've seen them all year. They went to what kind of lined up as a 4-4-2, but it kind of wasn't at the same time. It was almost what I'm calling a modified 4-4-2. And for those whose comic book this is their first and they're seeing, how is a 4-4-2 different than what we know, because it's the most basic football formation there is. What is Dallas doing with it that makes it a little bit different than what we know the historical 4-4-2 to be? Yeah, the modern game, you often see teams shift one formation to another, whether they are in possession or out of possession. Back in the England 4-4-2 days, the possession changed so often because people went long and the ball just bounced around, back and forth, sometimes over the midfield, sometimes in the midfield. So right now what's happening is they defend out of a true 4-4-2. Line of 4 in the back, line of 4 in midfield, and then 2 in front of them applying some kind of pressure. That's when they drop into the low block. In possession, Herman Johansson releases up the wing. Nolan Norris drops in, so that 4 in the back becomes a 3-man back line. And then it looks more like a 3-4-2-1. Joaquin Valiente abandons that right side position, tucks into the into the middle. So that's when it becomes something a little different. So you're half right. They're defending out of 4-4-2. They're attacking out of a 3-4-2-1. And that's going to be interesting tonight, Ryan, because that's exactly what RSL does. They play that more traditional 3-4-2-1, pretty much in totality with full wingbacks, Xavier Gozo and Juanma Sanabria. And we're going to see kind of almost a styles clash tonight, and it might come down to who can handle their business better, specifically on offense.
Yeah, talking with Eric Quill yesterday at Friday training, he sort of acknowledged that it is a little bit of a mirror matchup in terms of how the teams like to play, and whether they're defending under the 4-4-2 or not, they're definitely attacking in the same structure that RSL will be defending in tonight with the wingbacks and the 3 center backs. So it's really about winning your individual battles, winning your duels. Last time a team came to Toyota Stadium playing the same structure as Dallas was, that was Minnesota. That ended up with a win for the Loons. And Dallas has to be better than they were on that night, particularly in the final third, creating chances and just being aggressive in the duels. I like the addition of Ron Benjamin into this lineup because he brings some of that aggression. We know Ka'ike can bring some of that aggression in the middle of the field. I want to see more from Valiente, more from Moreno in the defensive side of the game because everybody's going to have to play a role against the ball and win those 1v1 matchups tonight. And, Steve, it could come down to which striker is better tonight because this is a very underrated striker matchup on the national stage. Petar Musa, obviously 10 goals coming into this one, top of the Golden Boot race. He's 4th in the league in XG generated. He's 6th in the league in G+, which is basically goals added to a team. But Sergi Solans on the other side, 9th in XG, 8th in G+. So we're seeing, even though probably a lot of people don't know Solans' name that are casual fans,
this is a matchup of top 10 strikers in MLS right now.
Yeah, we're trying to figure out, Ryan and I were trying to figure out whether Hugo Kuipers for Chicago had a goal today. Some places
he did, and then he didn't.
have
and
him
then he
scoring.
Did.
Some places have him not scoring, but we're interested in that because he's won on the same number of goals as the current, at least tied for Golden Boot leader Petar Musa. And you're right. Look, Petar Musa, you like him to get a goal tonight, but Sergei Solans, I really like this kid out of college. Rookie, sort of, as you said, out of nowhere. He just knows how to find space inside the penalty area. He knows how to sort of occupy that little area between the two center backs, and then burst into the whatever little gap he can find. He burst into that at the right time, and he's getting good service from Gozo on the right or Sanabria on the left. So it's a really good striker matchup. I'm really enjoying watching RSL for a number of reasons. I just like the way they play, and I'm really going to enjoy watching that striker matchup tonight.
I'm currently watching the Hugo Kuipers goal. First of all, every Hugo Kuipers goal is the same. It's just an absolute mess inside the box, deflecting around. I think it's going to go down as an own goal when it's all said and done. So maybe 2 goals from Musa tonight to make sure he ends the night in the league.
There you go.
I can at least tell you right now, according to the official MLS website, they have it listed as a goal for Kuipers. So as we sit here at 7:25 on Saturday, Kuipers is ahead of the Golden Boot race. So we will see how that ends up shaking out. Of course, adjustments can be made midweek. We will see. But Steve just mentioned, Ryan, one of the big problems that Dallas is going to have to deal with tonight. His name is Xavier Gozo. He is a 19-year-old wunderkind. That's probably one of the big reasons U.S. Soccer is here tonight. They've sent a couple coaches to take a look at him and another guy we'll talk about here in just a minute. But he is fast. He is young. He's got 3 goals and 3 assists so far in 10 games. He's also got, he's 68th in the entire league at XG as a 19-year-old. That's ridiculous. And this is going to be a big night for Ron Benjamin, for Nolan Norris, maybe even for Kaike if he slides over there. Because if they can shut him down, at least that right-sided offense for Real Salt Lake will be a little bit quieter tonight.
Yeah, I think the craziest stat for Gozo is actually that he leads all of Major League Soccer with 5 game-winning goal contributions, goals plus assists, that ended up with the team taking 3 points. That's remarkable. He's well on pace to become the leader in that stat all time as a teenager. He's chasing Diego Fagundes right now. But, I mean, he's got everything. You talk about a 5-tool player in baseball. I think he's that type of talent for Real Salt Lake. Playing in the wingback spot, he's more of a natural winger or forward player, but he's adjusted to that role. It was kind of the talk of the Real Salt Lake circle, him fitting in a wingback early in the season, and you could see, Pablo Mastroeni was probably doing an extra mile per game up and down the touchline, just coaching him through the game, letting him learn that position on the fly. But now that he's settled into that position, he's offering everything you want out of a wingback, up and down. Not only can he beat you on the dribble, beat you with speed, but he hits bangers. He hits shots from distance, and that means you can't afford to take a step back and give him that space anywhere in the final third because he will pull the trigger. It's a big ask of Nolan Norris tonight. I think that's going to be his primary matchup, and we saw the speed of Cade Cowell cause him some problems early on last week in New York. So hopefully he's learned from that. He's got plenty of experience playing alongside Xavier Gozo for the US U20s. Plenty of training time between those two, I'm sure. So he's got some comfortability in the matchup, but on paper, it's advantage RSL in that spot.
And, Steve, there's another aspect of this that we haven't really talked about, and that's the idea of, okay, how do you balance making sure Xavier Gozo doesn't get behind you in this regard and going forward? Because that left-sided offense, Nolan Norris has a good passer, but he may not be the best progressor. And Ron Benjamin, we saw him crashing the box multiple times. That's going to be a challenge tonight for the Dallas left side of knowing, hey, we've got to stay back to take care of Gozo versus, hey, we need to get forward and help the offense.
Yeah, well, the problem there is, there's 2 problems. Number 1, Gozo's 19 years old and they can run all day. Number
Correct.
2, RSL does a really good job of being vertical very quickly. We'll talk about this in the keys to the game in a minute. But, the key there is you've got to get forward and get enough pressure to sort of prevent that verticality from happening quickly and get everybody organized defensively behind you. But if you can't get pressure, they will get out and get on the run with Giavogi, with Luna, and with Gozo. This team likes to get out and get on the run. They don't possess the ball a lot in the back, and transition defending is going to be absolutely critical tonight.
And it was something we heard Eric Quill stress in training yesterday, run harder. That's going to be one of the things you can't let up tonight against an RSL team like this.
And it's hot.
It is pretty hot and humid tonight. It's one of a little preview of the summer that we're not going to get until September 5th here. And, obviously a lot of the talk has been about Solans and Gozo. Oh, by the way, Steve, Diego Luna's here too. Started the year just with a little bit of a knock that he picked up in training camp. He's played in 7 games, 3 goals, and an assist in that. Of course, he has been a bit of a national team cult hero lately. It's one of the reasons why the scouts are here tonight, to keep an eye on him ahead of the World Cup here soon. And that's a guy that, hey, if you take your eye off, if you put your eyes on Solans and Gozo, Diego Luna will slide right in there and take care of business for Salt Lake.
Yeah, it was a little bit more than a knock in the early season. I mean, he's only been he made his first start really just a month ago, but 5 starts now, 3 goals, 3 assists. Diego Luna last year, if you remember, he had just a little sliver of space and hit a banger from about 20 yards. It did some damage against Dallas on that one. So, look, he's got a lot of energy about him. He's got juice in his game. He can. He can combine, he can set up, he can break lines. He's got a great future in front of him. It seems like this guy's been around for a while. He's pretty young, too. He's only 22.
Yeah, he's just a baby, Ryan. But that's going to be a big challenge for the Dallas defense tonight. Who do you think is going to be charged with shutting down the number 10 for RSL?
I think it's going to be about Ramiro really organizing things around him, not losing sight of Diego Luna, because he doesn't play in the double pivot in midfield, but he drops into midfield a lot, drops deep to receive it. As we're running out of time here before we get things going for kickoff, I did want to call out the other end of the field, because I think losing Justin Glad for Salt Lake, who's out with an injury tonight, is a big loss for them. Philip Quinton coming in, not a ton of experience on his side. I mean, he's 26 years old, but he's kind of been a bench player for majority of his career. He's not super mobile, and then either side of him, you've got guys that aren't natural center backs, and DeAndre Yedlin and Sam Junka. So I think going the other way, that RSL backline could be susceptible, and we know Peter Musa is on fire. He's on great form, and I think it's also an opportunity for Santi Moreno to step up and make some magic happen for the first time here at home.
Well, you talk about that in the field, Ryan. On both sides, we're seeing top 10 goalkeepers by the numbers. Rafa Cabral coming into tonight 5th in G minus XGA, which is basically goals negated. He's a top 5 player at minus 4.11, meaning he's basically saved 4 more goals than the average goalkeeper. Collodi is 14th at just under 1 goal saved. And Cabral last year only allowed 2 goals in total across 2 fixtures for FC Dallas. It's going to be hard to crack both of these keepers, but Dallas is going to definitely have the bigger challenge so far.
Yeah, I really like Cabral. I think he was a really shrewd signing for Salt Lake, and he really upgraded a position where they had trouble for a couple of seasons. Now he's at 35 years old, and he's got experience in Europe and Brazil. He's good friends with Ramiro. Those two played over 100 games together for Cruzeiro, and he's really good with his feet. So, you don't really want to go and press the goalkeeper. He can cut you apart with his passing as well. For me, he's one of the best goalkeepers in the league.
Yeah, I think he's quietly been one of the better goalkeepers in the league. If he's playing somewhere besides RSL, I think you hear a lot more about him.
I would have to think so. If he was donning the Miami pink or the LA black and gold, we'd probably be putting him up there for goalkeeper of the year. Well, before we get to the national anthem here, let's go ahead and get our keys to the match. Those are presented by Toyota, and those are also brought to you by Steve Davis.
Thank you, Sam. Ryan just talked about this, but number 1 key is just solid screening from the midfield. The way Luna and Guy Lavogi operate and interchange behind the striker is really effective. Ramiro and Kaike in their dual screening roles have got to be on top of things. Ramiro has to communicate that pair's movement, and then Kaike, he can sometimes get caught ball watching, and he can't do that today. Number 2 is winning individual duels. Talked a little bit about that one too. Always important, of course, but when teams mirror each other tactically and when a team brings a really kind of good energy and really indomitable spirit the way RSL does, it's even more important that you match that level of commitment and you had darn sure better win your share of duels and those individual battles. And number 3, you got to be locked in on the transition defending. RSL does not want to spend a lot of time in the back with the ball. They really want to get going forward quickly. That's how they've gotten a lot of their goals this year. So FC Dallas has to be ready to defend the very instant Real Salt Lake takes possession or puts the ball back in play on a restart. And those are your keys, presented by Toyota.
4th key to the match, a little bonus here.
Whoa.
Draw a red card. 2 red cards for RSL last year in this fixture. They played over 100 minutes down a man. Let's just do that again. That was fun.
I will say Ari Piol, who drew at least one of those red cards, is on SCI, so he will not be available to draw a red card tonight. But, hey, there's 11 other players out there. They can make it work. In fact, those players are taking the pitch right now. Dallas in their red and blue DNA kit led by Ramiro, who's got the captain's armband. Meanwhile, RSL taking the pitch in their cobalt and white. Rafa Cabral, the aforementioned 35-year-old Brazilian keeper, wearing the armband for Pablo Mastroeni's men tonight. That's going to go ahead and do it for the pregame show. Before we get to kickoff, and we'll take a break, we'll go ahead and throw it to our PA announcer, Chris Bukimbuso, who will have tonight's national anthem.
Ladies and and gentlemen, please rise if you are able for the presentation of colors. Tonight, they are being presented by Corporal Robert Ray Brown, VFW Post 8273 in Frisco, Texas, under the command of Captain John Q. Miller. Tonight's Toyota Heroes of the Match are the missing in action aircrew of a U.S. Air Force B-52 bomber that disappeared off the coast of Texas during a routine training mission in 1968. Representing these American heroes tonight are the family members of the crew: Patrick LaMonica, grandson of Major Philip Strine; Steve Salaveria, son of Major Frank Salaveria; and Mark Casey, son of Master Sergeant Kermit Casey. To the families of the Texas B-52 mission and all of the families of our missing American service members, please know that your loved ones are never forgotten. Fans, please rise if you are able and remove your hats for the National Anthem of the United States, performed tonight by United States Air Force Lieutenant Colonel retired Dr. Kat Strauss.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, Castros. And thank you to the 87th.
Hey campers, it's Jan from Toyota. This summer, we're headed to Camp Toyota, and the fun starts now. We're kicking things off by kicking up mud. Jump in, campers. We're going off-roading in a 4Runner. Next, we're heading to the hot springs in a RAV4. And finally, park your Tundras and Tacomas around the campfire because we're roasting marshmallows. Your summer starts here.
Dealer inventory may vary. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Event ends June 1st. Toyota, let's go places.
It's a moment when I show up, God, I'm saying wow.
Welcome to the world of WinStar, the casino of FC Dallas, where 10,000 electronic games, plus roulette, craps, and blackjack is just the beginning. Get lost in our 2-story luxury spa, rest in one of our vast hotel towers, and catch the biggest names in music and comedy at the spectacular Lucas Oil Live, all just 1 hour north of DFW. So come live in the wow at the world of WinStar.
God, I'm saying wow.
Want to hear something incredible? That's Eleanor. Just 10 hours after being born, Eleanor was airlifted to Children's Health and met by our expert team trained in cardiac and critical care. At 4 days old, she received a stent to help her heart pump blood to the rest of her body. And today, she's a happy, healthy 1-year-old. That's incredible. That's Children's Health. Incredible together.
UT Southwestern Medical Center in Dallas, Texas, where discoveries change lives. The spark of collaboration that fuels bold thinking in our labs. The spark of inspiration that motivates greatness in the next generation. And the spark of innovation that pushes the boundaries of today's care. At UT Southwestern, teamwork and talent combine to fuel discovery, education, and healing. UT Southwestern, the future of medicine sparks here.
Well, welcome into Toyota Stadium tonight, where we're set for the first of the final 4 games before we step aside and turn our attentions to the World Cup. It's FC Dallas hosting Western Conference rival Real Salt Lake, and the teams come into this one with very little to split them in the standings, each boasting World Cup hopefuls amongst their ranks. The visitors led by U.S. international Diego Luna, and the Hoops led by Petar Musa in red-hot goal-scoring form. Ryan Figert in the booth alongside Steve Davis as always. And Steve, we've talked about it at length over the course of the pregame show. This is a huge one on the first of 3 in a week, the first of the final 2 home games before you step aside. We won't be here again after Wednesday until September. These points are huge tonight.
Yeah, they really are. It's not coming easy tonight. Ryan, FC Dallas this year against teams that are 500 or below, 4 wins, no losses, 3 draws. Against teams with a winning record, no wins, 3 losses, 1 draw. Need to get a win tonight against a team that's pretty good.
FC Dallas in their red and blue hoops will move from left to right in this first half. Michael Colodi takes his place, decked out in all green, and the goal down to our left as we watch on. RSL in their changed white and navy blue checkerboard pattern kit. They'll move from right to left in this first half. Rafael Cabral, their goalkeeper and captain, in all black down to our right. You can't miss the official tonight. They're in a very bright highlighter neon green. Joe Dickerson blows the whistle to get things going. Dropping it back to Colodi. We are underway. Launching it long towards Johansson. Challenging forward is former Dallas man Sam Junka. He wins that first header. And the visitors try and play out through the near side, but get caught up in traffic. Now lifted forward by Ramiro. Valiente, full sprint to get to it on the near side, and Junka concedes an early corner. Just 20 seconds in.
Junka had the angle there. Valiente does a really good job of just putting enough pressure on Sam Junka, the former FC Dallas man, that Junka sort of got his feet tangled up there, and instead of knocking this out for a throw-in like I'm sure he would want to do, it's a corner kick.
Corner kick for Valiente. Underneath the Rhine, right arm raised. Whips it in towards the near post. Norris flicking it on towards the top of the box. Diego Luna there to defend and come away with it on the dribble. Uragide picks his pocket from behind, but there's a whistle for Kaique, who had a little tug of the jersey there on Luna.
Yeah, good job, though, of fouling in a good place so that Diego Luna couldn't get out on the run like he really wanted to there.
Rafael Cabral plays short over to Sam Junka to get things back going. 35-year-old Brazilian way out of his 18-yard box here to play amongst the defenders. Moving it through Junka out to Sanabria on this near side, just short of halfway. Back through Junka to Cabral again. Moreno putting him under pressure on the top of the box. Quinton over to Yedlin. Dallas increasingly stepping up the line here. Gozo looking to combine with Gulavogi. Yedlin now giving it away to Kaique. Quick combination between Benjamin and Musa. Left center channel. Has his head up on the dribble. Musa into the middle, wins it back after he initially gave it away. Still going Musa, tries to juggle it past Quinton. And Quinton able to volley clear. Now Benjamin on the far side. Finds Ramiro. Ramiro to Moreno. Over to Kaique in the middle. A lot of space for him here. Right center channel. Gets his head up. Playing it out wide here for Johansson. First time ball for Valiente. Back to the Swede. Ramiro out wide for Valiente. 1v1 again with Junka. Heavy first touch popped up on him. He keeps possession with Johansson. Kaique switches it to the opposite side for Norris. Norris wide from Moreno on the far side. Gozo trying to step in front. Moreno keeps it away from him. Teasing on the dribble. Moving from far side to near. Ramiro now scooping it back towards Moreno. Breaks from Musa. Top of the D. Out to Johansson, top of the box, 1-2 with Valiente. Johansson along the right side, chipped ball towards the back post. Is gobbled up there by Cabral.
Great energy for Dallas to start, almost 3 minutes in. RSL barely with a touch on the ball.
There's a moment on the ball for Spearings, the new Dutch addition to their midfield. As Dallas with that high pressure forcing the turnover. Now they'll step back into that mid block right around the halfway line. Sam Junka on the ball in the RSL half. Out to Sanabria, the Uruguayan, off the near side. 1-2 with Luna, forced back for Quinton. Yedlin gonna lift the ball over the top to Gozo on the far side. Norris gets there first, finds Uragide, who gives it away to Spearings. RSL into the Dallas half for the first time. Luna off the near side. Back over to Spearings, right center channel. Wide for Gozo, whips it in over everybody's head. Johansson makes sure there's no RSL player on the end of it, flicks it out for a throw near the corner flag.
Nice shot by Nolan Norris a minute ago, winning a header, pushes it right over to Urguide. Urguide just couldn't find Kaike. It's the only little flaw in Urguide's game, just connecting that pass out of the back when he's under a little bit of pressure.
It's going to be a long throw from the near side for Junka. Junka dragging the left leg behind him as he lifts this one into the box, headed away by Urguide. Luna brings it down, playing it back for Yedlin. Junka seeing a lot of the ball here. Plays it down the line for Sanabria through the legs of Johansson. First touch there for Sergi Solans, dropping off the front line. He wins a throw on this near side. Combination up to the near side. Gilavogi back to Solans. RSL forced back here to Junka. Junka over 50 games played here in Frisco before he was involved in that Anderson Julio trade. Anderson Julio continues to be out with that long-term injury. We hope to see him back after the World Cup. Salt Lake now getting the ball moving with Gilavogi dropping in deep. Sam Junka over to Sanabria, another new addition for Salt Lake. These two teams met in preseason in Portugal. Dallas with a comfortable 3-1 win on the day, but guys like Spearings, Gilavogi, Sanabria had yet to arrive, and their team looks a lot different than it did in Portimao back in February. Dallas back in possession. Urguide in his own half here. Out to Nolan Norris. Big assignment for him up against his former U20 World Cup teammate, Xavier Gozo. Urguide back to Collodi. Collodi under pressure from Luna. Sends it long without a name attached. Was looking for Johansson, but maybe 5 yards away from him. It runs out for a throw.
Luna already all over the place in terms of trying to pick up the ball in different spots and playing like a guy who knows that he's being watched by the national team coaches tonight. Everybody trying to make that roster.
Extra motivation, I'm sure, for Luna, for Gozo, maybe even for guys on the Dallas side like Shaq Moore, who was involved at the last World Cup and hasn't been involved too recently with the national team. Junka into the middle. Kaliskin out to Sanabria, back for Junka. Might lead the game in touches so far. Here's Quinton inside his own area, over to Cabral. Moreno putting the pressure on. Cabral is going to go long towards Gilavogi. Gilavogi goes down, but that referee, I think, correctly judged he was making a meal out of that one, and it's going to be Dallas possession after he checks on Gilavogi. The referee was holding the back of his head.
Yeah, I think there was contact there.
I don't know.
But it wasn't a foul.
Joe Dickerson tonight, assisted by Jeremy Queso and Logan Brown. The VAR is Jeff Gamble. Shaq Moore to Johansson, just short of the halfway line here on the near side. Back for Shaq. Shaq, who played in this right center back spot last week and then switched over to play left wing back for the last 20 minutes. Further illustrating his versatility. Here's a bad back pass from Quinton, and Musa nearly able to pounce on it. Cabral out just in time to get it away from the big Croatian.
I mean, you talked about it in the pregame, Ryan. I mean, Quinton for Justin Glad. Justin Glad, a guy that's played 283 times for Real Salt Lake, 13th season. It's a big miss for them.
Quinton just never really looks comfortable with the ball at his feet.
He sure didn't that time.
Lucky not to have conceded the opening goal there to Musa, who really finds himself in those situations more often than you'd expect.
And credit Rafa Cabral for recognizing the danger and getting out on that one quickly.
Collodi just
off his
about
feet.
finding a way past Diego Luna, who's again putting the pressure on him, and Norris, who's switched over to the near side for the moment, hits it long and heads back to left back. Yedlin retrieves it, plays it across his 18-yard box for Cabral. Spearings dropping in, trying to facilitate here in the build-up. Out to Gozo, back for Cabral. Cabral really, you think, more comfortable on the ball than Philip Quinton. That's why he's seeing so much of it early on. Luna playing it back to him again.
It was interesting there where Cabral passed up the short little pass to Quinton and actually got ahead of him with the ball.
He's been adventurous with his position while his team has the ball. That's not just a Cabral thing. That's been a Pablo Masterini thing, and that's led to some spectacular long-distance goals against Salt Lake over the years. Uriguide beating Gilavogi in a foot race there. Gets it back to Collodi. Over to Johansson, corner of the Dallas 18-yard box. Valiente back to Ramiro. Johansson now lifts it forward to Musa. Sets it down perfectly for Ramiro. Chops back, now has RSL player either side. Plays it down the line and stays in play for Kaique, the furthest man forward. Going to pick out the early cross, looking for Benjamin at the back post, and it just found its way into the area where Cabral was able to make the claim. If it had stayed outside the 18-yard box, that could have been really dangerous.
I mean, Cabral really sniffed that one out. He was playing for the cross all the time, and Kaique, I think if Kaique sort of looks up and sees Cabral cheating, he might have been able to beat him at the near post, even on the touchline at 40 yards out.
I think we're going to get at least one attempt from distance tonight with the way Cabral is playing so aggressively off his line. The man who's best at it in the Dallas squad probably is Anderson Julio, the former RSL man who we mentioned is still out. Nearly had a half field goal last year against Houston. Sanabria takes the throw right on the halfway line. Into Spearings, back to him, and now he hits the switch across for Yedlin. Spearings coming across from Brøndby, sharing ownership with Real Salt Lake, and who played both of these teams in that Atlantic Cup preseason tournament. Kaique volleying it away from Luna, out for a throw here on the near side. Sanabria eventually taking the throw into Gilavogi in the middle of the field. RSL unable to keep possession, but Dallas can't turn it into possession. It's back with the visitors now in Luna. Valiente on his case forces him back to Quinton on the halfway line. Yedlin receives it with his head up, but doesn't spot anything he likes. Back for Quinton, who gives it away once again. Kaique finds Musa on the halfway line. Scoops the pass in behind for the run of the pit bull. Breaking at the top of the box, just again a yard too much. And Cabral, early off his line, makes another claim.
After the first 3 or 4 minutes, all the possession now swung over RSL's way, and Dallas really not having a good time right now trying to move the ball into the midfield out of the back.
48% possession on average for RSL this season. They're in the bottom 10, joining Dallas, who sit at 45% on average. But where RSL does a majority of their damage in the attack is on the break. Maybe Dallas would rather see them try and break them down than run at them with space. There's a long ball over the top looking for Diego Luna. Shaq Moore wins the header. And it breaks for Gilavogi, takes it off the chest. Drives past Ramiro into a central position. Now on the near side for Sanabria. Corner to the 18. Digs out across towards Solans. Uriguide heads it away. Out to Gozo on the far side. Cut back to Spearings. Now Yedlin, 23 yards from goal. Takes the shot on. Blocked by Moreno. And Norris will send it down the line and clear.
Great job there by Moreno, recognizing the danger and getting out really quickly there to block that shot.
Scoop down the line again for Gozo. This time Norris puts it out into the stands, into the construction zone on the far side. After Wednesday, the next time that we'll sit here in Toyota Stadium with fans in attendance, they'll be sitting on that side as we flip things over for the next phase of construction here in the next era of Toyota Stadium. Lining up a long throw here, DeAndre Yedlin from the far side. Fired in. Collodi comes out through traffic, got a touch of it, but not a convincing one. Went straight up in the air. Dallas get it clear only as far as Yedlin again. Inside the area, Gozo. Cross blocked by Benjamin. Combination, corner of the 18. Gozo inside the area on the dribble. Gets turned, headed back the other way. Now finds Spearings. Cross from the corner of the 18 towards the back post. Bodies hit the deck inside the area, and Solans was unable to keep it in play. Pretty wasteful there. Could have turned into something really dangerous. That's when RSL has been at their best, when they get players moving in rotations like that, quick combinations. That time Dallas was able to defend against Gozo, Gilavogi, Luna.
I mean, with the ball, they play with a real swagger. They play like a really young team, and I mean like a under 19 team, just sort of carefree with the ball, but it works for them.
Shot goes long, looking for Musa. Sanabria gets a piece of it. Now out on the far side, Moreno nods it out to Benjamin. Benjamin back to Moreno, keeps it moving to Valiente in the middle. One more over to Kayike, and now wide for Johansson here on the near side. Runners at the back post. Johansson to the corner of the 18. First time from Valiente to Kayike, back to him and towards the byline. Cabral unable to keep it in play. And it'll be the second corner kick of the night for Dallas.
We just bragged about RSL's combining, and Dallas that time doing a really good job of combining up the right side, creating the second corner kick.
And that gets the crowd on their feet. First corner kick for Valiente went into the near post, trying to hit Nolan Norris where he scored his first MLS goal up in Seattle.
And this is not where RSL is particularly strong. They've given up 6 goals off set pieces this year.
Valiente, co-leader in assists with 4, takes this one short to Moreno. Moreno on the dribble into the area, puts it back towards Valiente, but Luna sniffed it out, and now he puts it in behind the other way for Gozo. Dallas with Shackmore and Benjamin back defensively. Gozo full head of steam. Corner of the 18, hits the switching ball out to Gilavogi. Arriving on the top of the box, sets it back for Solans. And Dallas with some good running to get back in shape defensively.
Shackmore doing a really good job of just containing the situation, organizing Benjamin, telling him to get in behind me.
Sanabria fires it to the top of the box. Kalaskin whips it in. Benjamin wins the header. Musa on the top of his own box, dribbling through 4 RSL players, has nowhere to go. Eventually hooks it out to Valiente, who knocks it out off the RSL player and behind for a goal kick. And that was an adventure for Petar Musa.
I mean, Petar Musa only knows one way, and that's toward goal, right? He took that at the 18 and just kind of kept getting back, going toward his own end line, but it was a really good job there by RSL of counter-pressing.
Shackmore receives it short from the goal kick. Valiente sets it back for Kayike into Musa. Tried to use the bottom of his foot to control it that time. Gave it away to Junka. Musa started this round of games with a share of the Golden Boot. Now currently a goal behind Hugo Kuipers.
Maybe.
Maybe. That one has been ruled an own goal by some. Either way, Musa looking to get into sole control of that top scorer chart with a goal or 2 tonight.
Yeah, I like your plan. Get 2 goals and remove all doubt.
Kayike in the middle, out to Valiente here on the dribble up the near side. 3 RSL players around him. Eventually, Kalaskin comes across, wins it back for the visitors.
I mean, that was a good illustration of, when Petar Musa and Santi Moreno are out there, they're both sort of looking to drop in. They don't really have anybody stretching the back line, and that time, Dallas had nowhere to go. Valiente looking for somebody up the field, and he just got caught along the sideline with no options.
18th minute, still scoreless here in the first of 2 straight home games. Vancouver Whitecaps await on Wednesday. Junka plays the ball forward off the right foot into Solans, losing the battle there to Shackmore. Now Kayike comes forward on the dribble, breaks for Musa, over to Moreno, top of the box now. Moreno on the dribble, shot! Moreno with his first goal in Dallas colors opens the scoring, a beauty from 18 yards out.
Now Santi Moreno hits that one right about the same spot Diego Luna scored a goal here at Toyota Stadium. And by the way, big credit on that goal to Kayike, who wins the ball in midfield. We talked about the importance of winning those duels right at the midfield stripe. He wins the duel. He actually gets fouled, but Joe Dickerson does a good job of allowing play to go on. Santi Moreno picks up the pass right outside the 18. good first touch, sets himself up, and at about 20 yards, pushes it low, and to Cabral's right, 1-0.
Santi Moreno came into this one with 12 previous games against Real Salt Lake, 6 goal contributions, make it 7. His first goal for FC Dallas comes here in front of the home faithful in Frisco. Musa will pick up the assist. Kaique maybe a second assist. He certainly earned it. And that is a really nice moment there for Dallas in the 19th minute. To take a lead now, it's going to be about holding that lead, maybe adding to that lead. It's been difficult, particularly here at home this season, for them to do so.
I mean, he's got Quentin and Philip Quentin and DeAndre Yedlin right in front of him. I'm not quite sure how he squeezed the shot in between both of those, and I think because he squeezed the shot between both of them, I think Cabral got a little bit of a late jump on it.
Now RSL will look for a response as we've played 20 minutes. Rafael Cabral beaten on the ball here, sends it long. Nolan Norris winning it before he could reach Xavier Gozo. Finds Ramiro in the middle. Benjamin ahead to Musa. Again dropping in, that time loses out to Kaliskin. And Cabral at full stretch to keep that from going behind for a corner.
You got to say that's a little bit against the run of play. And as Salt Lake sits here at 64% of the possession so far. But, you know, being opportunistic is a big part of the game, and Dallas certainly was there.
It'll be a free kick for RSL as Urquide had gone on a hunt. A little too aggressive for the referee's liking. Definitely credit to the referee playing the advantage in the build-up to the goal. Good moment for Joe Dickerson.
Yeah, I think Joe Dickerson's one of the better referees. Second assist this year for Petr Musa, considering how good a passer he is and how much good work he does in gluing the offense together. Kind of surprising that it's only number 2 for him.
That's goal number 1 for the new number 10.
You got to figure it's going to happen the other way a few times this year, right?
I think that's how they drew it up, probably. Here's Cabral. Risky pass into Spearings, who gets it back for Yedlin, although he popped it up. And now Dallas brings the pressure. Cabral inside the 6. Swings it over to Junka here on the near side, who will go long. Targeting Solans. Shaq Moore wins the header up into the air. Johansson nods it out wide. Sanabria, no way past Kaique, out for an RSL throw.
Ryan, you mentioned in pre-game that neither one of these teams are particularly great this year at holding leads, playing with the lead. So let's hope Dallas has learned a few lessons along the way and can do a better job of it tonight.
RSL continue to boss the possession here in the first half, but the one number that matters currently is 1-0 on the scoreboard for Dallas. Up the near side, Sanabria, head to Luna. Luna and back over the halfway line into the RSL end. To Junka, now Cabral. Particularly with the lead, Dallas really won't mind Junka and Cabral having as many touches as they've had in this first half. It's Diego Luna now dropping in to try and orchestrate. And it nearly came off as there was some numbers flowing forward for RSL. Yedlin unable to track it down. He chases it all the way through to Collodi, who pops it up in the air. And Urquide got a hand raised there and a yellow card quickly out of the pocket of Joe Dickerson towards Osaze. It's Gozo who's down. We'll see on the replay how much contact there was that time. Yeah, he got his arm up there. Don't think he really knew exactly where Gozo was. It was a little bit of a weird one.
Yeah, I think if you're going to get your arm up there and try to, figure out where the defender is by touch and feel back behind you, you got to put your hand down a little lower. What happened is as he got it up there, it turned into a little slap against the neck there of Gozo.
This will set up a free kick for Diego Luna. 20 yards into the Dallas half on the far side. Santi Moreno's the one-man wall. Dallas sets their lines 20 yards from goal. As Luna whips it in right on top of the penalty spot. Johansson wins the header, nods it out to Sanabria, retrieves it here on the near side, out to Yedlin, bending ball off his right foot towards the back post. And headed away, breaks from Moreno. Now come forward on the dribble, stabbed forward towards Ramiro. Runners into this attack. It's Musa now on the right side. 3v1 here for Dallas, looking for the second goal. Peter Musa from the top of the box, low shot, right into the path of Kaique. And the Pitbull doubles the Dallas lead. That was a patented FC Dallas fast break goal.
Well, I talked on the keys about how Dallas had to be good at transition defending. That time it was RSL that sort of dropped the ball as Dallas got out on a 3-on-1 break. Peter Musa, probably not the best angle for the shot, but he hammered it at such a pace that Cabral couldn't handle it. He was just a step inside the penalty area, and Cabral, we bragged on him a while ago, but boy, he leaves that in a bad spot there. Kaique doing what he should do, which is crashing right in. Cabral left it at about 8 yards, and all Kaique had to do was knock it home from there.
Well, Kaique nearly got to celebrate with the ball under the shirt, announcing a little one on the way from he and his family. A few games ago, that one ruled out for offside. This one will count. Congratulations to the Brazilian and his family. Not only on the goal, but on the good news.
Musa will not get an official assist on that because the shot was parried, but he's had his paw prints on both Dallas goals.
And now Musa picks the pocket of Junka on the halfway line. Junka now hacking Musa to the floor. Surely you're going to see a yellow card out for that. There's 4 Dallas players around him, including Osaze Arigide, who was just booked, making that case.
Ryan, as Musa accepted that ball right at the midfield stripe, did you see what I saw? A little glance up. He's looking to see where Cabral is.
I appreciate it, and I hope he at least tests him once.
I mean, you're right, though. Junka had a whole big handful of Musa's shirt, and he was not going to let Musa get behind him.
Miscue there between Junka and Kaliskin. Knocks it off his own man out for a Dallas throw right in front of Eric Quill. Well, you might be thinking, here we go again. 2-goal lead at home, great start.
Just thinking the same thing I mentioned. I hope lessons have been learned because they've twice forfeited 2-goal leads at home this year. So let's hope FC Dallas understands that this is the time to really put the pressure on.
Valiente receives it in the right back position here. Hits the diagonal towards Musa. Yedlin volleys it away. And Osaze late that time on Solans. And he's got to be careful, having been booked. Don't usually see yellow cards given for that type of aerial challenge, but we know how Osaze likes to play, right on the edge. He's now 1 yellow card away from suspension, incidentally, as he'd gone a few games without picking up a caution. But they definitely can't afford to play without him tonight, nor against Vancouver on Wednesday. He's got to watch it the rest of the way. Luna, flighted ball into the top of the box, headed away. Kaique picking up the loose ball, back heel to Shackmore, whose clearance is blocked out for, should be a Dallas throw on the far side, and is.
By the way, Luna, not even into the half-hour mark, already 23 touches. He's really tried to boss the game and moving all over the field to wanting the ball on every possession. It just hasn't turned into opportunities for Real Salt Lake.
Joe Dickerson just went over and had a conversation with Osaze, keeping an eye on him. The only player booked so far in this game. From the Dallas throw, RSL win back possession. They move it across the back line in their own half here. Out to Sanabria. Spearing's back for Junka. RSL 5 wins and 1 loss at home. They haven't been great away from home so far this season. Just 1 win and 1 draw in 4.
But if you look at their losses on the road, one was to Vancouver and one was to LA Galaxy. I saw that game. They're 2 big decisions that I thought should have gone for Real Salt Lake, at least one. But They both went the Galaxy way, so they haven't really played that poorly on the road.
Gozo gives it away with a loose pass there to Valiente. Valiente puts it in behind Santi Moreno. Foot race to get it, and it's Cabral who wins it out off his line. And a better pass there, and it might be a 3-0 game within a half hour.
Yeah, and I'm not sure Santi Moreno understood how aggressive Cabral is playing with his starting position, because I don't think he really got going early on that pass.
Ramiro lifts it ahead. Quinton knocks it down for Junca. Marcel playing with fire, and now they have to go and chase the game. Spearings splits 2 defenders to find Gilavogi back to the Dutch midfielder. Now diagonal out to Gozo. Norris out to meet him. Luna, first time flick for Caliskin, back to Luna, right center channel, approaching the 18-yard box on the far side, chip back towards Diego Luna to the byline. Uriguita got a piece of it, and Collodi at full stretch, called into action, punches it over the bar. And that might have just been dipping into the goal, cut into the Dallas lead.
Pretty athletic there from Collodi. Not sure he'll get an official save on that, but that's a big moment from him, because I think you're right. That ball looked like he was going to drop into the back post after the deflected cross.
Might actually be his best save of the season.
It was a good one, whether it was an official save or not.
RSL continued to look for the outswinger. This time from the corner on the near side, it'll be Sanabria with the left foot. Sanabria bending ball in towards Quinton, up into the air, and it'll be Nolan Norris just to concede another corner.
Yeah, it was Johansson.
Johansson, sorry.
And he just he sort of raised his arms as if to say, sorry guys, I just didn't know where I was, who was behind me, so he just headed that out, did the safe thing. And you know what? With a 2-goal lead, yes, I think that's a big veteran play there.
So corner kick now for Sanabria from the far side. Diego Luna and Gozo both there short. They've got 3v1 here. They go quickly, and they do. Luna back to Gozo from the byline. Low cross in towards Yedlin. Is defended and cleared away by Nolan Norris. Dallas caught sleeping there, defending the set play, but not punished. Cabral over to Gilavogi, who's dropped in along the back line here, the number 9. He's got 2 Dallas players putting pressure on him. Junca eventually sends it out of play, but it deflected off Johansson, so it'll be an RSL throw.
Gilavogi and Luna sort of play the same position in behind striker Salons, but Gilavogi just hasn't really had much to say about the game so far.
Junca takes the throw down the line. Shaq winning it from Salons. Valiente gives it away to Sanabria. Now here's Luna on the halfway line. Ahead for Gilavogi, wide for Gozo. Gozo heavy first touch, corner of the 18, now has it under control. A couple step overs looking for Luna on the cross. Kaike at full stretch, volleys it out wide to Yedlin. Retrieves it for RSL. Top of the box, Spearings. Spearings wide again for Yedlin. Whips it into the danger area, and it's Sanabria who got the touch. Last touch was off maybe Valiente, who was there defensively. It's going to be another corner.
Nice job a moment ago by Ron Benjamin of hustling over to be the second guy, the second defender up against Gozo, so that Nolan Norris isn't out there defending on an island against him.
Third corner in these last couple of minutes for RSL. Now it's Luna to take. It went short last time. They've got players camped out all across the top of the 18-yard box. Dallas with everybody back defensively. Right arm raise for Diego Luna, cueing the runs. Now he whips it into the top of the 6. And Musa got an important touch there as Quinton was about to try the volley. Breaks for Gilavogi. Now Caliskin, left-footed ball, bending towards the back post, and Collodi again tips it over the bar.
Again, a deflected cross. Second one is just kind of fluky, but second one giving Collodi some trouble back there, but really good job of backpedaling, understanding where he is out in space, and pushing that ball safely over for another corner kick.
It's definitely going to hit the top corner of the net. Important intervention. Now a fourth corner kick in quick succession for RSL. Luna takes it as Uriguita hits the deck. I think they're going to get to do it again, as the referee helps Osaze to his feet.
It's interesting. still no official shots on target for RSL, but Collodi having to come up with 2 big moments. Can't call them saves because they're not saves officially. Dallas with no shots on target, giving up no shots on target last week against Red Bull. Didn't happen at all last year. It hasn't happened this year either until the other night.
Luna again, another chance at it. Whipped in again towards the near post this time. Benjamin wins the header. Gilavogi juggling it at the top of the Dallas box. And he got a big piece of Kaique there, who wins the foul. I'm thinking about the Galaxy game where Dallas led 2-0, and then you had a deflected shot that beat Collodi. And this time he's been up to the task on a couple of those deflected shot cross moments, keeping the 2-goal lead intact.
Gilavogi got a yellow card for that.
Gilavogi, who's got a goal to go with 4 assists so far in MLS after he signed from Lens on a 3.5-year deal in the winter. Hasn't really found his goal-scoring form just yet, but he's been an important part of this pretty high-powered RSL attack. Collodi, too much power on that restart from the top of his own box, out for a throw. RSL half here on the near side. Sanabria takes the throw down the line. Again, it's Solans matched up with Shaq Moore. Solans looking to turn. Shaq sliding, puts it out for a throw.
Shaq Moore, not a center back, but looking like one there. Doing a good job of holding his position against the target play.
Junka, forward for Kauskin. Knocks it down for Luna. Here's another giveaway. Benjamin onto it on the halfway line. 3 in the attack here for Dallas. Numbers streaming back for RSL. Benjamin on the far side on the dribble. Corner of the 18, trying to turn back. Gilavogi there defensively. Steps in the way and wins a foul.
Gilavogi, Benjamin there just didn't really have anywhere to go. He just kept running himself into the corner.
3rd straight start for Ron Benjamin. His first 3 starts in MLS. Now playing a little bit of a different role out on the left side. Getting that first assist last week. On the far side, Calliston's going to hit the switch to the near. Sanabria, first touch goes back towards the halfway line. Spearings finds Junka. Keeping it moving here through Philip Quinton. In for the longtime leader of the back line, Justin Glad. I don't think he'll be out for long, but he misses tonight. Spearings trying to split lines, and it's a good intervention there from Benjamin. Steps in the way, finds Kaique. Out to Johansson, back for Collodi. Off the left foot, Michael Collodi towards Benjamin. Challenging for it with Yedlin over the head of both of them.
Dallas defending really organized tonight. RSL sitting with 67% of the possession so far and just haven't been able to turn it into good opportunities.
Sanabria received it from his keeper, went first time in behind, and nobody had made that run. It'll be Collodi to retrieve for Dallas. Applause from Eric Quill. Agrees with you. We're 8 minutes from halftime. Norris out to Benjamin, still in the Dallas half. Finds Moreno on the turn, middle 3rd. Nice ball into the feet of Musa. May have been intended for Valiente. He was breaking in behind, and Musa loses out there to Quinton. And now Luna going the other way. Over to Solans, top of the box. Solans trying to turn past Shaq Moore and does. Kaique comes across, puts it behind for a corner. Could have been much worse there.
Yeah, Dallas letting the guard down just a little bit, and that's exactly what RSL does to you. You know, they get going back to front so quickly. As soon as the ball was turned over on that pass that you mentioned, I think you're right. I don't think it was headed for Musa.
Again, they go short. It's Ramiro defending Diego Luna, who enters the 18 along the near side. Takes the cross, initially blocked. Rabona cross on the second attempt. It's volleyed away by Petter Musa. Calliskin hooks it up into the night sky. Sanabria goes down again, holding his face, not fooling the referee, as Ramiro heads it out for a throw. They've got to figure out how to deal with the short corner. don't want to see Luna 1v1 or 2v1 in those situations anymore. Must be a new wrinkle RSL has introduced into the set play arsenal this week. As we know, Dallas usually pretty well rehearsed in those situations. Spearing's diagonal towards Sanabria, who was darting into the 18, but it's out of his reach, behind for a goal kick.
We're just about to get into the 40th minute, and this is where a couple of times this year Dallas has just dropped the intensity a little bit. So right now I hope the players are talking to each other, making sure everybody understands the importance of getting into halftime right now with this 2-goal lead.
Moreno, Kaique on the score sheet in this one. Musa setting up both goals. Colodi takes the goal kick. This one stays in play for Johansson, wins the header. Valiente flicks it along towards Moreno. Sent clear by Yedlin. Arguide goes down, and Salons will be whistled for the contact this time. Arguide actually hit the deck and then kicked it from his backside.
You just know that's the kind of game Arguide likes. He enjoys the contact.
There's Moreno, left center channel. Onto his right foot, puts the ball in behind for the run of Musa here on the near side. Musa takes it down on the top of the box. 1v1 with Junko, off the left foot, shot blocked. And Gozo picks up the second ball, and he'll drive the other way. Now hitting the long ball towards Luna. He got that one wrong, and Shaq Moore will retrieve. Another half chance there for Musa on the break. This time set up by Moreno. Moore's clearance, with nobody really forward for Dallas to try and challenge for it. It's going to be brought down by Quinton. 5 minutes plus stoppage time to go in the half. Yedlin out to Gozo. Back into the RSL half for Quinton. Junka hits the diagonal switch, looking for Gozo again. Targeting this matchup. Norris steps in the way, gets a piece of the ball, breaks for Kaliskin, who then loses out to Kaique, out for an RSL throw. Great first half for Kaique, including the goal, but a lot of great work in the middle third as well.
Well, it was. That time Benjamin lost his position just a little bit, so it was Kaique heading over really quickly to make sure that Gozo didn't get matched up one-on-one with Nolan Norris.
Quinton over to Junka under pressure from Valiente. Sanabria on the halfway line here on the near side. Combination with Luna, who gets himself freed up. Gilavogi off the left wing. Ramiro defending. In behind for the run of Sanabria to the byline. Digs out the cross towards the back post. Salons can't get the header on target. Might be the clearest sighted goal for RSL so far tonight.
Yeah, Dallas is lucky there that Salons was having to move back just a little bit. Cross wasn't in front of him, it was a little bit behind him, and I mentioned how he's really good at just carving out just a step or two of space inside the penalty area, understanding the timing, understanding the spacing, and he did it there, but luckily the cross was a little bit behind him.
Salons with 5 goals this season already, his rookie season after a year at Oregon State, a year at UCLA. He actually replaced Logan Farrington after he was drafted by FC Dallas at Oregon State the next season. Picked up right where he left off. Quinton nods it out of play for a Dallas throw. Just on the edge of the attacking third, it'll be Herman Johansson to take. World Cup hopeful for Sweden takes the throw into Valiente, try to get it back to him, but Luna steps in the way. Luna trying to split 2 defenders. Valiente got in the way and drew contact from Luna. And now it'll be a set piece for Dallas in a promising position.
I mean, really good job there. Valiente just doing what we talked about, just being a pest, winning a duel, winning a free kick in this case, and it's going to allow FC Dallas to milk a few more seconds, help them get into the locker room, and it's a pretty good position for a free kick here.
You think Valiente might take it himself. If you extend the 18-yard box diagonally, that's right where this free kick is being taken. On the near side, Moreno and Valiente standing over it.
A few Dallas players catching a little hydration break there. Quick one. It's 82 degrees at kickoff. I believe it's probably the hottest FC Dallas game so far this year.
90 seconds to halftime. Here comes the free kick. It's going to be Moreno from the near side. It's Musa at the near post. Nods it off target, but he left early. Offside flag was up anyway.
A good ball from Santi Moreno off his right foot, and Musa was upset at himself there. You're right, it wouldn't have counted, but he was a little upset that he was way outside. He didn't put that one on target.
It's a little offside trap from RSL. Caught Dallas unaware. Johansson's going to be called for a foul against Sanabria.
Whoa! I mean, Diego Luna, what are you doing, man? He just, I don't think it was anything heavy, but he just threw something at one of the officials over there.
I totally missed it, so you're going to have to take the play-by-play from here, Steve.
I think it was just a piece of tape or something, but he threw it like violently at what they call the red hat over there.
We'll get another look at it here in a second. Right now, it's a conversation between Joe Dickerson and Diego Luna.
Well, they didn't catch it on the replay, but there's just a piece of tape.
He's got a piece of the tape actually hanging off the back of his head.
I can't believe. Okay, so Joe Dickerson is going to give him a yellow card for that. And then he holds his hand up in apologies, but and the red hat over there sort of holds her hands up, saying I'm okay and it's all good. But that was just a petulant moment there from Luna, as scouts are, they're here watching him. Not a good moment for him.
Oh, we're gonna have to have a conversation with the official. I know she's got to be neutral, but I need her taking a dive there, going down, holding the face, anything to help the home team.
It was a piece of tape. It would have been pretty obvious.
If it hits you in the eye, it could do some damage. Yellow card in the end for Diego Luna.
I just don't understand why he was upset at her. I guess he's just frustrated in general. Or was he aiming at the fourth official over there?
I have to think he's probably not aiming at anyone in particular, but
it looked like he threw it right at her.
Salon's digging it out of the crowd of 3 Dallas players. RSL setting up possession in the Dallas half here as we make our way into stoppage time. Still waiting to see how much time we'll play. The fourth official was a little distracted amongst all of that. Spearings hitting the switch out to the far side. Gozo for Gilavogi. Crossfield ball. Johansson wins the header, and then he's clattered into by Sanabria.
Joe Dickerson doing a pretty good job of keeping a lid on this game. The irrigated yellow card might have been a little soft. He did end up slapping Gozo in the neck. Two yellow cards now for RSL, so it's evened out.
Under Pablo Masterini, RSL certainly have a little bit of a reputation of playing on the edge, physicality, just like their manager did.
Yep.
His career as a player to the U.S. men's national team in the World Cup stage.
Yep, got thrown out of a World Cup game. Pablo Masterini did against Italy.
Well, Dallas this time take a 2-goal lead and take it into the halftime break as Santi Moreno gets his first for the club, and Kaique gets an insurance goal. And 45 minutes down, it is 2 goals to the good for the Hoops, looking to get things going in the right direction here at home. Step aside for a quick break, and we'll be back. We'll break down the first half of action. It's FC Dallas 2, Real Salt Lake 0. You're listening to FC Dallas Soccer, presented by Toyota on the FC Dallas Radio Network.
You push your body hard in the name of fitness. Sure, it's for a good cause. But a good cause shouldn't mean sacrificing a good time. Michelob Ultra, superior light beer. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Hey campers, it's Jan from Toyota. This summer, we're headed to Camp Toyota, and the fun starts now! We're kicking things off by kicking up mud. Jump in, campers. We're going off-roading in a 4Runner. Next, we're heading to the hot springs in a RAV4. And finally, park your Tundras and Tacomas around the campfire because we're roasting marshmallows. Your summer starts here.
Dealer inventory may vary. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Event ends June 1st. Toyota, let's go places.
UT Southwestern Medical Center in Dallas, Texas, where discoveries change lives. The spark of collaboration that fuels bold thinking in our labs. The spark of inspiration that motivates greatness in the next generation. And the spark of innovation that pushes the boundaries of today's care. At UT Southwestern, teamwork and talent combine to fuel discovery, education, and healing. UT Southwestern, the future of medicine sparks here.
When you don't compromise on the court, you shouldn't compromise off of it either. Lose the calories, not the taste. Michelob Ultra, superior light beer. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri. Copyright 2024.
After 45+ here at Toyota Stadium, it's FC Dallas 2, Real Salt Lake 0, as 2 first-half goals for the home side have them up on their Western Conference rival. Hello, everybody. It is the FC Dallas Halftime Show, brought to you tonight by your local Toyota dealer, Toyota. Let's go places. Also brought to you this evening by Advocare, building champions together. I'm your host, Sam Hale. I'll be joined in just a moment by our halftime crew, Garrett Meltzer and Steve Davis. But let's start with our halftime highlights, and they start in the 18th minute when an FC Dallas account was opened.
Plays the ball forward off the right foot into Salons, losing the battle there to Shaq Moore. Now Ka'ike comes forward on the dribble, breaks for Musa, over to Moreno, top of the box now. Moreno on the dribble, shot! Moreno with his first goal in Dallas colors opens the scoring, a beauty from 18 yards out.
Santi Moreno's first FC Dallas goal and first of 2026 made it 1-0 Dallas in the 18th minute. And then in the 25th minute, it was the Pitbull doubling the lead.
Now come forward on the dribble, stabbed forward towards Ramiro, runners into this attack. It's Musa now on the right side, 3v1 here for Dallas, looking for the second goal. Peter Musa from the top of the box, low shot, right into the path of Ka'ike. And the Pitbull doubles the Dallas lead.
Ka'ike in the 25th made it 2-0 Dallas, and that is the score at the halftime break. Let's get you tonight's halftime stats. They are brought to you by UMB Bank. Salt Lake has the possession battle 67-33. You've got 5 shots apiece for each side, but 3 shots on target for Dallas, 1 for the Claret and Cobalt. You've got a save apiece for Rafa Cabral and Michael Colodi. 6 fouls for Dallas, 1 yellow card. That went to Osaze Urigide. 5 fouls for RSL, 2 yellow cards. That went to Morgan Gilavangi, and the very odd Diego Luna yellow card for throwing what looked to be tape at the 4th official who got out of the way.
Captain's armband.
Oh, it was the captain's armband. Garrett Meltzer.
Captain's armband that he threw.
Okay.
He tore it off of Ramiro's arm and a little bit of a shoulder-to-shoulder, ended up with it in his hand, and then decided to toss it at the sideline or at the crowd. It was interesting.
And see, that's why Garrett Meltzer joins us here on halftime, because he brings us the exclusive scoops. And, you know, I don't want to spend too long on it, but, lads, you both have covered a lot of FC Dallas soccer. That's one of the strangest events I've ever seen here at Toyota Stadium.
I mean, I've never seen a captain's armband end up in the hand of an opponent, just to begin with, let alone have that armband tossed towards the sidelines. An interesting one, but I think the referee handled it really well, just to give just a yellow card to Diego Luna, just to calm things down. It wasn't much more than that, just kind of a moment of frustration, but obviously no one was harmed. There's no chance of injury with just tossing a captain's armband, but it's still not a great look for the young midfielder.
Yeah, it was almost comical, wasn't it? If you throw a water bottle or something, yeah, you might hit somebody and you get suspended too. But to throw up, we thought it was a piece of tape. But even the captain's armband, that's just what's even the point, right?
It's not going to fly very far.
No, it's not. It turned out to be pretty funny. But there are U.S. national team scouts here, mostly to see him. Not a good moment for him.
No, most certainly not. But there are a couple of really good moments for 2 specific FC Dallas players, Steve. Let's start in order here. Santi Moreno has been stitching this thing together for about the last 5 matches. The only thing he's really been lacking is that finishing in the 18-yard box. Well, he gets there tonight with his first FC Dallas goal, and that was just a really nice, both in execution by the whole team and then in placement in the end.
Yeah, it was. Philip Quinton is sort of right there on top of him. It's DeAndre Yedlin coming over to help, and he manages just to carve out just a tiny little bit of space. Honestly, it looked a lot like Diego Luna's goal here last year, which was very similar in that there wasn't much space there. Maybe it was 2 years ago, Garrett, is that right?
It was last season.
Last season, where same spot where, there's just not a lot of space there. and the ball is sort of under your foot. All of a sudden, you draw your leg back, but in Luna's case, it was left foot. But you draw your leg back and whack the ball, and I'm not sure how he got it between the two defenders, but I think because it went between the two defenders, Rafa Cabral saw it a little bit late. It ends up sort of, it's not the most powerful shot, but the placement is really good. Over to Cabral's right inside the corner, 1-0.
Meanwhile, Garrett, Kaik, if there was a first half cowboy hat, I think he would be the easy contender because it's not just about the goal that he scored, which was good enough on its own right off the rebound, but he has been everywhere on the pitch. It seems like every time he pops up anywhere near the ball, good things have been happening for Dallas.
It's probably the best half I've seen Kaik play in his short career here at FC Dallas. And yeah, and like you said, the goal is just a good job being in the right place at the right time, kind of expecting a deflection from a Petter Musa shot. It's always difficult to carry that first time from a goalkeeper's perspective when Petter Musa lines one up with his right foot. And yeah, just an easy finish for Kaik. But defensively, he's been everywhere, just tracking runners, which I think has been a really important part of the game for him that's growing. A few times Dallas has conceded goals earlier this season, actually, and sometimes last year where he just wouldn't track a runner into the box. This time he's doing that and cleaning up those loose balls in the box, which can be so dangerous. And also, I didn't really see him misplace any passes, which has sometimes been an issue for him, as it is for many young midfielders. But he's just been very safe with the ball, knowing when to look upfield and knowing when to slow things down, and most importantly, putting the ball in the back of the net for the first time this year.
Garrett, it's so true that what you look for is a maturity in his game. You want the maturity to grow, and I think you're right. One of the criticisms you would have about him is he can ball watch a little bit. He can fall asleep. We've seen it a couple of times this year where it's cost FC Dallas goals, or partially, where he just falls asleep for a second, doesn't track a runner, and, the ball's in the back of the net. Well, tonight, you're right. I think he's been right on top of it. Now, he's still got to do it for a second half, but right now he's got 23 touches, 11 or 12 on his passing, 4 of 5. He has had 5 individual duels. He's won 4 of them, 5 defensive contributions. And one thing that we didn't mention on that first goal was that it was Kaike winning a duel in midfield, being strong in the ball, holding off a challenge. He actually got fouled after he holds off that challenge, but because he's able to hold it off, get the ball to Petter Musa as he's getting fouled, that creates the opportunity for the goal. So he's got a big hand, even though he doesn't get an assist. He's got a big hand in the first goal.
And one group I want to shout out tonight is the back 3, 4, whatever you want to call it. I'm talking specifically about Shaq Moore, Osazi Urigide, Nolan Norris, and Michael Collodi, because that's kind of the core 4 there on defense. Obviously, Herman's kind of floating around. But those 3 center backs / defenders, specifically in Collodi, have had a really good night against a transition team in Real Salt Lake. They haven't made many mistakes in the box. They've struggled a little bit on the short corner that I'm sure Drew Keyshawn is having a very fun time with in the locker room. But overall, Steve, that group has been really important, including Collodi, who probably should have about 3 or 4 saves, not just 1.
Yeah, his Michael Collodi's 2 best moments were deflected crosses that he had to be bright on and make sure he guided them safely over the crossbar. Look, let's give Herman Johansson all the credit he deserves here. He's playing right back. Okay,
yes.
It's a back 4. So let's clear that up. When RSL attacks, it is 2 lines of 4. So let's stop that. It's a back 4. He's playing out of position and he's playing it well. A lot of possession for Real Salt Lake so far. They were sitting, high 60s, 67% of the possession. They really didn't turn it into a lot of good opportunities because, again, Dallas was very organized in both their lines. I see Ramiro out there doing a lot of pointing and communicating, making sure that Valiente on his right understands where to be. And then the back line is just solid. They're in the right spots. Diego Luna's all over the place picking up the ball. He wants to impress the national team scouts here tonight. They just haven't been able to get a lot of good, clean looks at goal. The only good, clean look they got was Salons on a cross from the left side. And luckily, he had to backtrack a little bit, so he wasn't able to get a lot of power on that one.
Yeah, the Michael Collodi, Nolan Norris, Shaq Moore agenda for the U.S. national team. Garrett's getting a lot of play tonight. And, we'd be remiss if we didn't talk a little bit about Petter Musa. Obviously, he doesn't have a goal yet. But you can see a lot of his work off the ball, a lot of his work in transition has helped set up. I mean, specifically the Kaike goal happens in part because Musa is moving towards goal. His shot gets blocked, and then Kaike is there to clean it up.
Yeah, he's just doing Petter Musa things, which is always making himself an option for the ball and getting in dangerous areas. We saw that on the second goal, got in a ton of space. Actually, his second or third touch took him a little bit wide, and I think that's why he didn't. I think his shot was actually more of just, let me just hit this hard and see where the goalkeeper parries it, which was a great decision because in the end he parried it right to Kaike's feet. I don't know if Petter Musa really expected to score from that angle, but I think it's one of those where, look, I'm just going to hit this hard and low just so I know the goalkeeper can't just grab it and catch it in the chance. And, never know where a deflection is going to go. That time it fell very kindly for Dallas. And the only question is, in the second half, do you want him to go full 90 minutes knowing that there's another game on Wednesday? So I can definitely see Petter Musa only getting another 15, 20 minutes run out with a Logan Farrington sitting on the bench behind him, which is a good guy to have behind Petter Musa.
Well, that transition as well, Steve, to second half look. And I think the biggest thing for Dallas, regardless of anything else, it's getting to 60 minutes without conceding a goal. We've seen when this team is up, and they did a good job of it, specifically at the end of the first half, not conceding a goal where they've struggled. But now it's going to be coming out of the locker room, maintaining that intensity, and getting to about the 65th minute, still up 2-0 or maybe even better.
Yeah, they came out of the gate tonight with really good energy. So if they can just keep that energy and then do the same thing when the moments when RSL sort of starts taking over in midfield and starts pushing the game into their end, just stay nice and organized. Honestly, it's just coming out with the energy and then doing what you've been doing for 45 minutes.
Well, FC Dallas leads 2-0 here against RSL at the break. We will take our own break, and when we come back, Ryan and Steve will get you ready for the second half of action from Toyota Stadium. It's FC Dallas 2, Real Salt Lake 0. You're listening to FC Dallas Soccer, presented by Toyota on the FC Dallas Radio Network.
UT Southwestern Medical Center in Dallas, Texas, where discoveries change lives. The spark of collaboration that fuels bold thinking in our labs. The spark of inspiration that motivates greatness in the next generation. And the spark of innovation that pushes the boundaries of today's care. At UT Southwestern, teamwork and talent combine to fuel discovery, education, and healing. UT Southwestern, the future of medicine sparks here.
It's a moment when I show up, God, I'm saying wow.
Welcome to the world of WinStar, the casino of FC Dallas, where 10,000 electronic games, plus roulette, craps, and blackjack is just the beginning. Get lost in our 2-story luxury spa, rest in one of our vast hotel towers, and catch the biggest names in music and comedy at the spectacular Lucas Oil Live, all just 1 hour north of DFW. So come live in the wow at the world of WinStar.
God, I'm saying wow.
Want to hear something incredible? That's Eleanor. Just 10 hours after being born, Eleanor was airlifted to Children's Health and met by our expert team trained in cardiac and critical care. At 4 days old, she received a stent to help her heart pump blood to the rest of her body. And today, she's a happy, healthy 1-year-old. That's incredible. That's Children's Health. Incredible together.
Hey campers, it's Jan from Toyota. This summer, we're headed to Camp Toyota, and the fun starts now! We're kicking things off by kicking up mud. Jump in, campers. We're going off-roading in a 4Runner. Next, we're heading to the hot springs in a RAV4. And finally, park your Tundras and Tacomas around the campfire because we're roasting marshmallows. Your summer starts here.
Dealer inventory may vary. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Event ends June 1st. Toyota, let's go places.
Welcome you back to Frisco, Texas. Toyota Stadium, the venue tonight, as Dallas lead 2-0 over Western Conference rivals Real Salt Lake. Goals from Santi Moreno and Kaique in the first half, both set up by Petter Musa. And Steve, crucially, they got the 2-goal lead and they kept it going to the halftime break. That's been a real struggle for them this season. Yeah,
it wasn't a struggle tonight. I thought they controlled things pretty well. We hit about 6 minutes plus the 2 of stoppage time after that weird incident along the sidelines. We said that they just needed to make good choices here. There was one moment where Shaq Moore just whacks the ball out of the corner. I thought, yep, that's okay, no problem there. And I think those decisions show that maybe they've learned something. You know, that's not where you want to make any mistake. You just, throw the ball up the field and they get ready to defend again.
Well, Dallas was quickly out of the locker room, happy with those first 45 minutes. RSL, a little bit longer wait for them as they've now emerged from the tunnel and will move from left to right in this second half. They get into their final huddle after a team talk from Pablo Mastroeni, who's second in games coached for Real Salt Lake, behind the club legend for both of these two teams, Jason Kreis, the only player in MLS history to score the first goal for a club twice.
And we have it on excellent authority that Jason Kreis was in the bathroom listening to our broadcast. I have it on the best authority.
The king of goals in Dallas history is in the house, now in a executive position with Real Salt Lake. The team which he coached to an MLS Cup championship back in 2009. Back underway for the second half. Luna dropping it back for Cabral. And RSL go in search of a way back into this game after a strong first half for FC Dallas here at home. Gozo, no way past Nolan Norris, back for Caliskin. Dallas and the red and blue hoops moving from right to left in this second half. Thank you for tuning in wherever you're listening across the FC Dallas radio network, the FC Dallas app, and on YouTube with the Burncast. Dallas forcing RSL back to Quinton and now back to Cabral. Came into this one as one of the leaders in Major League Soccer in underlying goalkeeping metrics, beaten twice. One from the top of the box by Moreno, one on a rebound he conceded to Kaique. Luna sets it down for the ball in behind. Solans beaten to it by Aragide, who will leave it for Collodi, launching it long.
Yeah, we talked about how we thought Cabral was quietly one of the better goalkeepers in Major League Soccer, but needed one of those goals in the first half. We're going to go on his highlight reel.
Ramiro nodding it out towards Valiente, but over his head, bounces out for an RSL throw taken quickly. Cabral continues what he did a lot of in the first half, which is step out way away from his goal to help the team in build-up. Ball over the top for Solans, got ahead to it. Now Uragide controls it. Getting it out to Johansson, under pressure from Luna. Johansson turning away from Luna. Got it towards Ramiro, who slid and played it out for a throw. Spearings retrieves the bouncing ball in midfield. Dallas set their line 25 yards from their own goal. Now stepping it up as RSL forced back all the way again to Cabral. Yedlin receives it from his goalkeeper, plays Quinton. RSL, a team that hasn't spent a lot of this season in trailing positions. They don't do a lot of chasing or pressing. Luna trying to bend the ball in behind. Norris heads it downfield. Caliskin retrieves it for the visitors. He hits the switch out to the far side for Sanabria. Sanabria for Spearings. Space here for the Dutch midfielder. Out to Sanabria again. Sanabria off the left foot. Valiente against his fellow Uruguayan, able to block the cross out for a throw.
Sanabria does deliver a really good ball from the left side and just hasn't really had a lot of opportunities to do that tonight. That time he did have a little bit of space, but Valiente hustled back over there to close the gap pretty quickly.
Junko will line up the long throw. From the far side, Uragide wins the header. Ahead to Musa. Knotted down for Ramiro. Awkward one. Here's a shot from distance on the half volley from Caliskin. As that one comfortably flies over the bar.
Urgide's been good in the air tonight. That was his fifth headed defensive clearance.
And a nice catch in the stands from a fan in attendance behind Michael Collodi's goal. Talking about Sanabria. His brother Lucas Sanabria plays for the Galaxy, scored here already this season. Juanma has 4 assists on the year, still yet to score his first in MLS. Collodi waving the team over to the right side of the field. Now he launches it long, out to that far side towards Johansson, his usual target. The Swede flicks it along.
Johansson's so good at winning those, and Dallas just not always great at winning that second ball, though, off his deflection.
Aragide cleared out by Luna as he released it there. Not enough for a free kick, and RSL play from the far side to the near. Yedlin out wide here for Gozo. Benjamin steps in, makes a strong tackle, and then nudges him off the ball the second time as well. Good work there for Ron Benjamin. Falling for the ball in behind here. It's Nolan Norris right onto his right foot. Up the near side, Benjamin turns away from Yedlin. Slip pass into the path of Musa, corner of the 18, holding off Sam Junka. Musa back for Norris. Good work there. Both ends from Ron Benjamin. Switching ball from Kaique, and is over the head of Johansson. He can't keep it in play.
Yeah, it's another incredible performance on the left side so far from Ron Benjamin, who, again, he's not a left-sided midfielder by trade. He's a central midfielder. I think he's making a pretty good account, though.
Yeah, we thought maybe he would drop out to the side for Moreno to come to the left and Logan to partner Petar Musa in the attack. Hasn't happened yet, and he's holding down his position well.
I mean, still might be an option going forward. They have 2 more games over the next 7 days.
Diego Luna on the halfway line on the far side. Back for Quinton. Keeps it moving to Yedlin under pressure from Benjamin. He plays it out. And the experienced U.S. international just misplacing a pass there, looking for what we all think is going to be a future U.S. international in Xavier Gozo.
I mean, he's been pretty quiet tonight so far, but you know he's got the quality that you give him an inch, you know, he can. We know he hits banger goals.
Solans trying to control a bouncing ball. Ramiro sends it clear towards Valiente, who had made a run in behind, I think. He was in an offside position. The flag goes up. An all Uruguayan matchup on that far side. There's a switching ball to the near side. Header won by Norris. Sets down for Benjamin. One's a throw off Yedlin. Taken quickly in for Kayik. 1-2 with Ramiro. Now he makes his way up the near side. Stabbed out of play by Noel Caliskin. Found his way into a starting role in the RSL midfield after being drafted by Portland and bouncing around a little bit. They're still missing Emeka Anelli. I think might be a big piece of this team going forward.
Yeah, one of the first things I did was check to make sure he wasn't on the bench tonight. Still isn't.
Nice flick from Kayike out to Benjamin off the left side. Finds Valiente, space for him in the middle. Out to Johansson, forward from right back. Bending ball in towards Musa. And Kayike got a touch of it. And Musa wishes he wouldn't as it heads behind for a goal kick. Players on both sides playing not just for 3 points tonight, but with real eyes on contending for a World Cup roster spot for their nation. Diego Luna, principal amongst them for the RSL side. Good work from him to get it out wide on the far side for Sanabria, who might be involved with Uruguay. Tried to find Gilavogi, it bounces back to him. Johansson on the Dallas side, Dietzen as well, who's not in the squad tonight. That's Petar Musa. Luna looking to combine here with Gilavogi. Has to go back for Spearings. His first MLS goal came as a stoppage time winner against Austin. Here's Luna chipping in behind for Solans. Uragide, strong tackle there, comes away with possession, and then wins a foul from the young striker. Chase towards the corner flag on the far side.
Yeah, once Uragide had body position there on Solans, Solans just really didn't have any options. Ends up fouling Uragide.
Saze and co doing a job on Julian Hall and the Red Bulls last week, holding them to no shots on target. Another of the league's top young strikers in Solans, his matchup this week. So far, best he could offer was a header off target in the first half. Cabral sends it long. Gilavogi flicking it on. Solans made a different run, and it'll be retrieved by Johansson. No shots on target so far in the night for Salt Lake. Doesn't mean Colodi wasn't active in the first half against a couple of crosses. Norris back for Osaze, under pressure from Gilavogi. Keeps it moving for Shaq Moore. Out to Johansson. Fine to just go back to Colodi here. Colodi waits for everybody to get back on side and lifts it out towards Valiente. Got the first touch, but Sanabria then recovers possession for RSL. Gilavogi knocking it down for Luna. Volleyed pass towards Solans was off target. Now Norris puts it in behind for Musa. 1v1 here in the RSL half with Quinton. And I don't think Musa realized how much time and space he might have had there as he tried to go the other way against Quinton. He could have just kept running up the near side.
10 minutes into the second half, Ryan, neither team has really had a dangerous touch inside the opposition 18. It's been all in the midfield so far after the break.
Kaliskin out to Gozo. Gozo positive first touch outside to in, gets beyond Norris. Kaike coming across. Gozo throws himself to the ground. Referee waves him up.
It's the first mistake Nolan Norris has really made against him tonight.
And Moreno cleared out by Yedlin. There's 2 players sliding in. They can't both have gotten the ball. The referee didn't blow for a foul there, as Moreno stayed down in the center circle. Really promising position there, erased by the tackle.
I mean, it's a great point you made, because Joe Dickerson.
They both cleared him out, both of them.
Joe Dickerson indicates that the ball was gotten, but you're right. I mean, did both of them get the ball?
Based on the replay we saw, neither of them got the ball. I'm not sure what Dickerson thought he saw, but Moreno's still down, and now he's waiting for treatment, and that usually indicates in the modern game that there is something seriously wrong with Santi Moreno, because if he's to continue after this, he'll have to wait off the field for 2 minutes. But it's a yellow card tackle all day long from both RSL players. Eric Quill is letting the referee, particularly the 4th official, hear a piece of his mind. The other option for Dallas to avoid having Moreno wait off on the side would be to replace him. Haven't seen anyone come across from the Dallas substitutes warming up down to our right. Available off the bench tonight: Abubakar Ibiaga, Sarver, Kappas, Swan, Delgado, Farrington, and Nick Simmons.
Moreno up and walking now, a little gingerly, but you're right, he'll have to wait on the sideline.
RSL preparing the first change of this game. It's going to be Victor Olatunji, the Nigerian striker. We'll see who he replaces in just a moment.
Yeah, I would think it would be Salons. Salons has been held in check mostly by Shaq and Urigide.
Well, Olatunji asks different types of questions to Sergi Salons, who will be the one replaced. 6'4" frame. Leads the line with his physicality. Sergi Salons out of the Super Draft, Oregon State by way of UCLA. Probably his quietest night of the season tonight, up against Urigide and Shaq Moore.
Had the one shot late in the first half, off across from the left side. Didn't really create a lot of threat with it.
Dallas momentarily down to 10 as we resume play. Luna off the near side, now hits the diagonal ball out to the far side for Sanabria. Johansson out to close him down, low cross, it's blocked away as there's a foul whistled against RSL in the middle. Urigide hit the deck. You got to say, well spotted by the referee. Wouldn't have been looking necessarily in that direction.
I think it was Gilavogi.
It was Gozo with a little push in the back. Luna and Gilavogi booked on the RSL side. Just Osaze booked for Dallas so far in this game. Moreno still waiting to re-enter. And he will now make his way back onto the field as Collodi launches it long. Sanabria and Johansson, heads go up. Last touch off the Uruguayan, out for a Dallas throw. Dallas defensively, we mentioned the shots on target last time out as well as tonight so far. Quietly creeping into the top 10 defensively in the league in terms of expected goals conceded. Musa on side, no, the flag goes up on the far side as he made his run early. And if they can lock things down here, they'll be back in the win column at home and make it 2 straight after last week in New York.
You know, they'd really like to take a little bit of forward progress, a little bit of momentum into that big break coming up in about a week.
And even more short term, like to take some positive momentum into Vancouver Whitecaps at home on Wednesday and what will be a revenge game against the team that knocked Dallas out of the playoffs last year. Benjamin, nice pass, megging his opponent to find Ramiro. Ramiro trying to force it to Moreno. Gives it away. Now Sanabria, ball to the top of the box. Luna finds Gilavogi on the turn, shot right at Collodi. And the shot on target streak comes to an end, but Michael Collodi behind it.
Yeah, it's a nice little touch off there at the top of the D by Diego Luna, setting up Gilavogi. He had a pretty nice little worm burner shot, but it was right at Michael Collodi.
Well, Benjamin had his foot stepped on to the point where his shoe came off. What we play on. Ball out to the far side. Sanabria defending it initially, but it breaks for Johansson. Makes his way forward from right back. Options either way. Plays it out to Valiente. Back to Johansson. Corner the 18. First touch, now the cross towards Musa at the back post. Oh, the towering header, but he couldn't keep it down. Up against DeAndre Yedlin there.
Yedlin had position, and Musa just dunked on him. But you're right, he just couldn't get up high enough to head that ball down.
Caliscan receives it on the turn in the middle for RSL. Dallas usually likes to attack towards the Hall of Fame end of the second half. That's not the case tonight. They're going towards the shield down to our left here in the second half.
Yeah, but I think they'll generally take it if they can score 2 in the first half while attacking that end.
Now they've got the supporters behind them in this defensive effort in the second half.
Herman Johansson just won another header over there. I think he's won pretty much everything directed his way tonight.
There's a giveaway from Olatunji. Gives it away to Musa on the edge of the center circle. Kaike turns past him, now scoops it out to Valiente, making his way forward on the far side. Valiente onto his favorite left foot. Back to Kaike, finds Moreno. Moreno gets turned, and Olatunji from behind pokes it away. Making up for the mistake there, the recent substitute. Switching ball out to Sanabria. Brings it down on the far side. Olatunji now the target man in the middle. Checks it back for Caliscan. Over to Yedlin here on the near side. Another change coming for RSL in a moment. Xavier Gozo on the dribble. Outside the in, but not making any progress. Switches it over to Junca. Out to the far side, Sanabria. Left-footed ball whipped in towards Olatunji. Uragide threw himself at it and won the header. Second ball breaks for Junca. Lines up a shot from distance and got under it.
So, Ryan, we're sitting at 63 minutes now, and little gap starting to appear that I didn't see in the first half in the Dallas, those 2 lines of 4. So, looks like we're about to get our first change.
Christian Kappus called over. And there's a change waiting on the RSL side as well. As Michael Collodi prepares the goal kick. Just over an hour into proceedings tonight.
Second time Sanabria has been able to get his head up and have an uncontested cross on the left side, so Dallas needs to be a little bit better about closing that down.
Another one for Collodi that just hung up in the air and went out of play from the goal kick. RSL now back in possession. Really trying to find Sanabria early and often. Here he is driving at the Dallas back line. Out to the far side. Gilavogi cuts back to his right foot. Lost it under his feet. Chased towards the corner flag by Valiente. Gilavogi back now for Junca. Finds Spearings. Gilavogi receives it wide on the far side. Bending ball in off the right foot. Gozo challenging for it, but Norris watching him all the way. Watched it bounce behind for a goal kick.
Yeah, actually Norris doing a good job there, just keeping a body on Gozo. Not letting him get a free header there. Nice job, Nolan Norris.
Mentioned in the first half, but Norris very well acquainted with Gozo from their time at the U20 World Cup last year when they were both on the score sheet a couple of times. Collodi this time keeps it well in bounds towards Musa. Challenging with Spearings, who's climbing up on his back. Spearings comes away with it, but then Musa quickly bites back into the tackle. Trying to dig it out of a scrum here. Spearings, nice footwork, finds Luna. Ahead to Olatunji. Uragide. Whistle for a foul there as both players were hand fighting. And now Kappus will look to enter this game. Aiden Hezerkani inbound for Pablo Mastroeni, the young midfielder. Junka finds Spearings, edge of the center circle in the Dallas half. Luna, first time ball forward, finds Kalaskin. Wide here for Gozo. Pins it in off the right foot. Stooping low to head of the way is Norris. Back out to Gozo. Yedlin more advanced here. Plays it wide for Kalaskin. Luna sets it down for Gozo. Now driving from outside to in. Step over, slips past Ramiro, but not Shaq Moore. Forced back here. Everybody back defensively for Dallas in the 65th minute. Gilavogi, corner of the 18 on the far side. Finds Gozo at the top of the box, and whistle goes for a foul against Shaq Moore, who's perplexed by the decision. It was Gozo who won the foul, and this is right in shooting range for someone like Diego Luna.
Thought he won the ball there. Two players going for the ball. He didn't really go through Gozo to get it.
I think Dallas will make the change, as this will be a height upgrade. Santi Moreno coming off, having scored his first goal tonight. Christian Kappas on to replace him.
Ryan Diego Luna staying more central this half, and he's really starting to sort of be more effective in there. Just quick little one-touches. It's happened about 3 times over the last 10 minutes.
So this free kick comes just off center to the far side, 24 yards from goal. Based on the cut of the grass here at Toyota Stadium. Luna offering the right-footed option, Sanabria the left. Plenty of eyes on Diego Luna. Looking to get his team back in it here. It will be Diego Luna straight into the Dallas wall. RSL did not make their change as Christian Kappas came in. Now they're going to make it a double change at the next opportunity. Cabral sending it long. Olatunji knocks it down, but Shaq Moore able to recover possession, plays it forward for Benjamin. Kappas finds Ramiro, wide again here on the near side with Benjamin. The fullbacks are swapped right now for Dallas. Shaq on the near side, Nolan on the far. Diagonal from Ramiro is out of the way by Sanabria. Kaike fending off Olatunji in the middle. And Kaike has been called for a foul. And the Dallas frustration with the referee is starting to simmer a little bit here in the second half.
Yeah, I think Olatunji just did a pretty good job there, sneaking around Kaike and sort of surprising him with his position, and Kaike did foul him.
So it'll be Spearings off for Hezrikani, and Sanabria off for Katranis. Fresh legs at left wing back and into the midfield. Aiden Hezrikani turned some heads after getting a few starts to open the season here. 6 starts in total, 2 goals, at just 18 years old. A lot of conversations between the RSL players in the aftermath of those changes. And straight into the action, Katranis. Looking for Gilavogi, intercepted by Ramiro. Kaike back into the middle off his head. And turns it over. Kalaskin, time and space to get his head up. Still 45 yards from goal. Finds Yedlin. Switching it over again to Junka. Former Dallas man looking for options. Plays it wide for Katranis. Now Hezrikani. First time ball forward. Flicked along by Katranis. Cleared away by Shaq Moore.
So Dallas has changed its shape just a little bit. Kappas with the ball. When Dallas has the ball, will play the same thing Marino did, but without the ball, he's dropping into midfield and forming a line of 5 in front of that 4-man back line.
Really well tracked ball there. Nolan Norris watching it all the way from the far side to the near and nodding it out for a throw, keeping it away from Gozo. Kalaskin back to Junka. Valiente nearby, putting the pressure on. They'll move it to this near side RSL. Now go back again for Quinton. Kappas trying to pressure the goalkeeper. Sort of slipped on Kalaskin's back leg committed the foul. They take it quickly. Now RSL and something similar to what we've seen from Dallas, where they shift between the 3 and 4 at the back. They're letting Gozo go high and Luna float. Here he is off the left side, looking to combine, finds Olatunji. Back for Yedlin. Yedlin wide here for Gozo. Gozo, no way past Norris, steps in with the tackle. And Gozo picks the pocket of Kappas. Loose pass into the middle, both players sliding. Ramiro hooks it out to this near side, Gozo back on it. Yedlin, space for him. Kappas 5 yards away. He's going to switch the point of attack out to the far side, and Junka. Diagonal ball from Junka. Gilavogi trying to chest it down. Uragide there, and then Gilavogi whistled for a foul. Might have stepped on Kappas in the aftermath. He's been booked already.
Gilavogi offering a little argument on that one. I don't really see how. It was a foul. He really bundled over Christian Kappas and sort of stepped on him, like you said, from behind. I think that's just frustration from RSL, just not being able to get a lot going offensively, even now that they've had a lot of the ball closer to goal than they did in the first half, but still just not really doing a lot to test Michael Collodi back there.
Up towards Musa, flicked on for Valiente, shot towards the near post. Wins a corner, saved by Cabral. As that time, Collodi's delivery was pinpoint. Musa looking for another assist, flicking it on, and Valiente draws the corner.
It was very RSL-like, going back to front really quickly.
73% possession for RSL in this game. After the 2 first half goals, Dallas have set down the challenge. Come and break us down. Looking for a third here, though, from the corner. Valiente off the left foot, in towards the penalty spot. Uragide unmarked, and Cabral tips it over the bar. Didn't really have a lot of power behind the header, but Osaze looking to put maybe the nail in the coffin there.
Yeah, I think Cabral knew it wasn't goal bound, but it's one of those where if he doesn't tip it over the bar, it's probably going to come off the crossbar.
Valiente again, another chance from the near side. Whipped in again, same spot. And this time headed away by Yedlin. Whistle goes for a foul against Uragide. Those applause you could hear. Sam Sarver and Logan Farrington will be entering this game soon. The substitutes who combined to excellent effect last week against New York. And Steve, what just happened?
A ball that Cabral wasn't paying very much attention to, just rolled him behind him and went into the goal. You know, players are a little superstitious about that. They don't really like to see that happen.
Near side here. Hazarkani defended by Benjamin. Sets up a long throw here for Yedlin. Conversation first between the referee, Olatunji, and the Dallas center backs.
It's Shaq Moore right now. You'd think that if there's an argument back there, it'd be Uragide, but in this case, it's Shaq Moore and Olatunji scrapping back there.
The corner, it'll be another throw instead. Ramiro this time wins the header at the near post, ahead to Musa. Benjamin challenging for it, goes down, crashing into bodies off the field. Referee waves everybody up. Switching ball out to the far side for Luna. Into the final 15 minutes. Here's Luna on the dribble, corner of the 18. Wide, low cross sent in. Sliding intervention there from Ramiro. And last touch came off Olatunji. It'll be a goal kick, and now a chance for the Dallas subs.
And still all this possession. I've got them at 67% for Real Salt Lake. That's probably a high for RSL this year, and still just you may have a different stat package. I've got 2 shots on target for RSL.
So Musa will be replaced by Logan Farrington. No goal tonight for Musa, an assist, and he set up the second goal as well. Sarver will be replaced by Valiente. Sorry, the other way around.
Yep.
Sarver on for Valiente.
Well, if you need energy, And you look at the subs available, you couldn't do any better than Sarver and Logan Farrington.
It's funny, Dallas already in the 2-goal lead, which they grabbed late against New York, but it's felt like the game has followed a very similar script to last week. Score early, invite the pressure, solid defensively, and now you bring in some spark plugs off the bench. Both Sarver and Farrington crashing into players immediately. Katranis wins a foul.
I didn't see that coming. That's sarcasm. Line figure caught it.
It's really 5-4-1 now for 4-5-1, sorry, now for Dallas. Ball into midfield, looking to split Ka'ike and Ramiro to find Luna. Then Ramiro is trying to split two players and hit Ka'ike, and it's all a bit of a mess. Eventually, Ramiro gives away a foul. And Luna will stand over the free kick. Left center channel halfway into the Dallas half. Dallas set their line on top of the 18-yard box. Luna whips it in off the right foot, headed away by Benjamin. Retrieved by Yedlin. Here's Hezarkhani on the turn. Sarver trying to pick the pocket of Katranis, turns away from him, finds Luna. Diego Luna now top of the box. Dumps it off now. Junka whips it in. Uragide got a touch. And then a touch flicked up onto the arm of Xavier Gozo. And that'll relieve the pressure for the moment. Next up, both of these teams playing in midweek. RSL will stay on the road against Houston. Dallas will host Vancouver. If you want to be there as we send off our World Cup hopefuls with Around the World night, head to FCDallasTickets.com. There will also be a special Player Pins Tex Hooper giveaway. Complete the set with the Musa one from earlier in the season. Here's Dallas stepping the pressure up. Junka knocks it off Ramiro out for a throw. Still in the RSL half.
Logan Farrington applying a lot of pressure on Rafa Cabral and forcing Cabral to put Junka in a kind of a bad spot.
Throwing down the line, Olatunji loses out to Shaq Moore, sends it down the field. His clearance is blocked. Uragide across to try and deal with it, and he puts it out for an RSL throw. They haven't been shy about launching these into the box tonight.
And they're bringing center back Quinton up, so here comes another one.
Junka heaves it in. Didn't reach the 6-yard box before it was headed away by Ramiro. Second ball bouncing back into the box, and Norris got a touch. Collodi covered it up. Offside flag was up.
Strange night for Michael Collodi. I mean, really hasn't had to make a big official save. Two best actions were on deflected crosses that he had to be very alert and athletic to keep from dropping in behind him. The one save he did make was on, was it Giavogi or Gozo that hit the worm burner?
It was Gilavogi, I think, early in this second half. Cabral puts a foot through it. Up towards Olatunji. He's just run down Uragide without even going for the ball.
Well, they both put their hand out at each other, sort of trying to hold each other off, and I think Olatunji was just a little bit too aggressive, and the referee's assistant on this side immediately put his flag up. It happened right in front of him.
Those free kicks are to Dallas's liking, leading 2-0. 10 minutes plus stoppage time to go. Came away with just 2 points from 3 home games last time they were here at Toyota Stadium. There's a nice header from Farrington into the area, looking for Kappas, set down by Ramiro. Benjamin unable to keep hold of it, sent clear. Uragide wins the header on the halfway line, controlled by Norris. Sends it down the line towards Benjamin. Benjamin clattered into by Yedlin. Another free kick goes Dallas's way.
I mean, even though RSL has most of the ball, Dallas just looks in control. They look calm. RSL really hasn't found anything effective and repeatable that they can do to get into the 18 with any kind of effectiveness. There was about 5 minutes there where Diego Luna was sort of combining in the middle. He found some good spots in the middle, but I think Dallas made a really good shift there. That's when they brought Kappas in, added one more midfielder in there to sort of try to plug that gap, and since then, RSL just hasn't had much in terms of entries into the final third in an effective way. Yedlin got a yellow card there.
Tempers flaring a little bit after the whistle. Yedlin stepped over Benjamin, who was still on the ground. And again, the clock ticks on the side of FC Dallas.
Was it for the step or for the... No, yeah, you got him with an elbow. That's pretty vicious, to be honest with you. Got Benjamin with an elbow in the face.
Only now Benjamin back to his feet. Underwent a quick check from the medical staff on the Dallas side. RSL preparing their final change. Dominic Marchuk will replace DeAndre Yedlin.
Yeah, Benjamin's got a mouthful of blood, too, from that elbow.
Yedlin's yellow card challenge, his last action tonight. Free kick for Dallas here along the near side. Christian Kappas will take. Whipped in, allowed to bounce right on the penalty spot. Nobody got a touch from either side. Although the Dallas players protesting that maybe it did flick off an RSL player. It'll be a throw for the visitors near the corner flag on the far side anyway. Fresh legs at both wingback spots now for RSL. Here's a giveaway. Logan Farrington making a nuisance of himself. Now holds off two defenders. Eventually Ramiro sweeps it out for another throw. Farrington putting Quinton under pressure inside the RSL penalty area. Chasing it all the way through to Cabral, who gives it away to Sarver. First touch sets up Benjamin. Now turning, finds Farrington. 20 yards from goal, unleashes a shot just over the bar.
Got a lot on it at about 24 yards. Moving from his left to his right. Just put it a little high.
Sarver looks like he's playing left wing back now. So he forced the turnover there. Marchuk finds Kalaskin, switching ball to the far side. Luna now. Luna on the dribble, skips past Ramiro, corner of the 18 on the far side into the area, and Shaq Moore just steps in front, and now he'll run for the hills. And there's Sam Sarver waiting at the back post. Shaq Moore into the attacking half. Tired legs getting back for RSL. Sarver waiting at the back post. Shaq Moore slips over as he enters the area. Oh, it's just the worst timing. And now it's a sprint back the other way. Gozo leaves it for Gilavogi. Dallas a man light at the back. Gilavogi 4v4 here. Scoops it towards Luna at the back post. Receives it. Takes it down on the first touch. Now through traffic, Luna scores. And with 6 minutes to go, Dallas could have sealed it at one end. It swings back the other way. And Diego Luna scores at Toyota Stadium for the second straight season.
I mean, maybe Dallas just a little naive there. Trying to get that third goal, trying to finish it off. Got a few too many players forward because you know what they can do. I mean, it ends up being 4v4 on the other side, and that's just not what you want in that situation. A couple of Dallas players end up getting back, but by then it's disorganized, and you just don't want to get caught 4v4 when you're holding a 2-goal lead. I mean, you don't want even numbers, period. You want at least +1, probably +2 there.
Now, Dallas reduced to a 1-goal lead, looking to avoid slipping from a position of 2 goals up for the third time this season.
It's a good shot by Diego Luna. I mean, no fault there on Michael Colodi. Again, it's just been a strange night for Colodi.
And now Dallas will have to rely on that defensive solidity they've shown throughout the night. Sarver switched back over to the far side. As RSL are in possession. Caliscan keeping it moving. Quinton back to him. Edge of the center circle in the Dallas half. Dallas looking like a 6-4 formation right now. Luna plays it down the line. Catranas tried to return it to him. Sarver intercepts but can't find Farrington. Possession turns back over the way of the visitors. Ibiaga set to enter this game. The next opportunity. Here's Gozo up the near side. Back from Marchuk. Turns, finds Caliscan. Returns to the Polish international here, skipping up the near side. Trying to find a way past Norris. Kappas gets a touch of the ball. That'll set up a long throw. Junka to come and take. They've got Olatunji now to aim at. They've got Quinton. That's 6'6" in the area. Junka heaves it in to the top of the 6. Header won by Uragide to the top of the box. And a shot through traffic blocked again by Uragide. And the whistle goes for a handball as Sarver was about to make his way in behind. As the only player going that direction.
Well, that's a great job by Uragide to get out and throw himself in front of that shot.
Ron Benjamin will make his way off the field, replaced by Sebastian Ibiaga. On to try and close this game out. He was able to do so at Red Bull New York last week. Looks like it'll will send Dallas back into that 3 at the back structure with Sarver coming across to the left. Shaq.
It's going to be Herman Johansson coming over to the left.
Herman on the left, Shaq on the right.
Yep.
3 center backs. Farrington whistled for pretty normal contact there, challenging for the header. RSL restart play quickly. 2 minutes plus stoppage time to go. Important 5 or so minutes in the Dallas season. Junka lifts this one into the area, and Johansson and Co can just watch it behind for a goal kick.
Johansson ready to head that one away and get some good information there from his goalkeeper, Michael Colodi. Smartly just lets it drift over the line, and Colodi will take his time on the goal kick.
No clean sheet for Michael Colodi. He was looking to make it 2 in a row. Sends it long towards the near side. Again, over everybody's head. That might not have been over Herman Johansson's head, but it was over Sam Sarver's head.
Johansson was lurking over there too. Colodi's overhit a couple of those tonight.
Junka brings it forward into the Dallas half on the far side. Out to Catranas. He's now got Shaq Moore to deal with 1v1. Quinton on the halfway line, rolls it forward for Gozo. Gozo, drop of the shoulder, looking to get turned. Plays it across again for Junka. Final minute of the 90. Caliscan finds Hezarkhani. Hezarkhani splitting the lines to find Luna. Olatunji top of the box. Olatunji laying on top of the ball for the moment. Dallas come away with it with Kappas. Kaike finds his way out of the phone booth there. And now Dallas might be able to break. Logan Farrington. Shaq Moore on the overlap from right wing back. And Kaike in the middle. Just into the RSL half. Will turn and play it across for Johansson. Some much needed possession now for the Hoops. Johansson will head for the corner flag. Holding off Hezarkhani. Marchuk goes down. Buying soft whistle there. Marcel will restart play. About to find out how much time we'll add on here. Out to Junka again. 7 minutes added on. Where did that come from? Colodi, nice catch there, coming out through traffic.
I mean, some of that is Santi Moreno's injury. Does sound pretty heavy, though.
And 1 goal, no VAR reviews. This time Colodi's punt is right to the foot of Logan Farrington, who brings it down. Can't keep hold of it with 2 defenders draped on him. They're not going to be able to sit back and defend for all 7 minutes, you think. Need a little bit of possession here throughout stoppage time. And need to keep track of the number 10. Already on the score sheet once tonight, Diego Luna.
Problem is their big possession guys have already been substituted out of the game. Kappa's pretty good at it. But Valiente's out, Marino's out.
Cross from the far side, header won by Johansson, out to Quinton. Here's Marchuk. Sarver defending. Hazarkani, pass, Kaike unleashes a left-footed shot. That one had eyes for the back post. And it deflects behind for a corner. Luna heads across to take. 90 seconds into the 7 minutes added on. Dallas set 4 players inside the 6-yard box. RSL keys the runs from around the penalty spot. They run towards the near post. Luna whips it in, headed away by Ibiaga. That's what he's in there to do. And now Sarver going the other way. Sarver splits 3 defenders. He's all alone into the RSL half. Here's Sam Sarver at full stretch. Sarver to seal it! And the shirt comes off again! Sarver into the crowd to celebrate what will be 3 points at home as he scores off the bench for a 2nd straight week.
Well, we said if you wanted somebody to bring the energy, it would be Sarver and Farrington. Sarver's also got a little speed. He showed it there. His first touch is inside the Dallas half, and he is just pulling away from everybody. Does have to hold off 1 challenge. A big credit there to Ibiaga for winning that first header. And then it's just all Sam Sarver.
Oh.
He blows past 3 RSL white shirts. Only one's even given a chase. It's Katranas. Katranas puts his hand on Sarver's back. Still can't bring him down. And then Katranas somehow asking for a foul there. I mean, they're trying to foul him as he's running away from him.
I mean, he pins the ears back and goes full throttle.
And by the way, you know, when you're moving that fast, holding off a challenge, Cabral's coming out at you, that's not an easy finish. Sam Sarver 2 in a row.
And he says night, night. And pumps up the crowd after he picks up another yellow card. He's on yellow card accumulation watch the way he's scoring off the bench. That shirt just won't stay on. At this rate, everybody who owns a boat in the Frisco area needs to be careful. It might be burned tonight. And now that gives Dallas the breathing room in stoppage time that they were looking for.
I mean, I got a kick out of Katranas asking for a foul there. You know, Katranas ends up on his behind, but it's because he's trying to pull Sarver down, trying to grab the shoulder. Sarver puts his right arm out as he's going by, or as he's staying ahead of Katranas. But, you know, at that point, literally Katranas has his hand on Sarver's shoulder. What an effort.
And nobody can get this crowd going like Sam Sarver. And that was before he was scoring goals. Norris, another nice intervention there ahead of Gozo, who wins it back off Kappas in the center circle, lifts it ahead of Olatunji. Foot race to get there. Olatunji gets there first on the corner of the 18. Back for Luna. Luna now on the dribble. Finds Gilavogi, back to Luna. Corner of the box on the far side. Gilavogi on the dribble inside the area. Slips past 1 defender, not past Ibiaga. And then Gilavogi is going to be whistled for a foul as he tripped up Uragide, who was trying to get up.
That time it was Kappas throwing himself in front of a shot before the whistle went. Dallas has done really well at that 3 times tonight of sniffing out danger and then rushing out to meet the shot. That's the kind of effort you want to see, you love to see. And Dickerson's got a lot to manage back there. I'm not sure what. Gilavogi's still down.
As we're sorting that out, Sarver's again playing to the crowd. There was bodies on the line there. Everybody,
So
Dallas colors.
Gilavogi was down on the ground, and Regita was trying to get out to meet the shot. Shot that Kappas eventually met, but Gilavogi tripped him up, and Dickerson, good eye there, saw it.
Dallas have been excellent at home against RSL since the visitors came into the league. 14 wins, 8 draws, just 2 losses. Hadn't picked up a win at home in a while, though. A few seasons now. Looks like they're going to return to the win column against Real Salt Lake tonight. Here's Hezar Khani, loses out to Sarver, steps in the way. Kaike had a bead on it, but Kaliskin at full stretch keeps it alive for RSL. Out to Luna. Hezar Khani showing some promise off the bench. Too little too late. This ball bent in behind. Marchuk back across, and Norris nearly scored an own goal, bailed out by Michael Collodi, who has come up huge in some of the strangest circumstances tonight. 3 saves on 0 shots on target. That'll probably end up on his season reel. Corner from the near side. And Collodi will make a comfortable catch, and that should just about seal things.
Dickerson may give it another minute or two for the goal.
Dallas came into this one trailing Salt Lake. We're in 6th, Dallas in 7th. 3 points behind. They'll erase that deficit tonight, move ahead on goal difference. Early season jostling for position in an increasingly competitive Western Conference.
Herman Johansson wins another header in the Dallas penalty area. I think he's been very effective tonight. Quietly effective.
Eric Quill asking for time here as they play on. Take the throw now. Luna off the left foot, headed away by Ramiro. Whistle goes to the mouth of Joe Dickerson. One final check of the watch. He'll allow this play to continue. Quinton hits the diagonal. Collodi comes out off his line. Full stretch, makes the catch. And spots a chance maybe to add a 4th. Throws it out towards Kaike, but that'll do it. Dallas good early and good late thanks to Sam Sarver. A 3-1 victory tonight against Real Salt Lake to make it 2 in a row. And the boat is pointed back in the right direction as long as Sam Sarver doesn't set a light to it. Moreno in the first half with Kaike to make it 2-0. Luna threatened with the goal in the second half, but Sarver put things to bed. We thank you so much for joining us for the 90 minutes of action tonight. As Dallas wins this one 3-1, we'll have post-game coverage coming up for you here on the FC Dallas Radio Network. And this one ends 3-1. You've been listening to FC Dallas Soccer, presented by Toyota on the FC Dallas Radio Network.
Hey campers, it's Jan from Toyota. This summer, we're headed to Camp Toyota, and the fun starts now. We're kicking things off by kicking up mud. Jump in, campers. We're going off-roading in a 4Runner. Next, we're heading to the hot springs in a RAV4. And finally, park your Tundras and Tacomas around the campfire because we're roasting marshmallows. Your summer starts here.
Dealer inventory may vary. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Event ends June 1st. Toyota, let's go places.
UT Southwestern Medical Center in Dallas, Texas, where discoveries change lives. The spark of collaboration that fuels bold thinking in our labs. The spark of inspiration that motivates greatness in the next generation. And the spark of innovation that pushes the boundaries of today's care. At UT Southwestern, teamwork and talent combine to fuel discovery, education, and healing. UT Southwestern, the future of medicine sparks here.
This is Logan Farrington, striker for FC Dallas. Behind every goal, there's a team you don't always see. The ones keeping everything running, secure, connected, ready. That's General Informatics. From cybersecurity to smarter IT solutions, General Informatics powers FC Dallas with advanced technology support so we can stay focused on the game. General Informatics.
Toyota dealer, Toyota, let's go places. Also brought to you this evening by UMB Bank. See how UMB can help you achieve your business goals. I am your host, Sam Hale. I'll be joined in just a moment by the voices of tonight's victory, Ryan Figert and Steve Davis. But we need to get to your post-game highlights, and boy, are there some highlights, especially at the end. But we start in the first half, specifically in the 18th minute, when the first of two accounts open began for FCD.
Junka plays the ball forward off the right foot into Salons, losing the battle there to Shaq Moore. Now Kaike comes forward on the dribble, breaks for Musa, over to Moreno, top of the box now. Moreno on the dribble, shot! Moreno with his first goal in Dallas colors opens the scoring, a beauty from 18 yards out.
Santi Moreno's first goal in FC Dallas colors made it 1-0 FCD in the 18th minute. And then in the 25th minute, it was the Pitbull opening his 2026 account.
Now come forward on the dribble, stabbed forward towards Ramiro. Runners into this attack. It's Musa now on the right side. 3v1 here for Dallas, looking for the second goal. Peter Musa from the top of the box, low shot, right into the path of Kaike. And the Pitbull doubles the Dallas lead.
First goal of 2026 for Kaike. That made it 2-0 FC Dallas in the 25th minute. That would be the score at halftime, and Dallas would largely have control of the match until the 85th minute when that man did it. Diego Luna in the 85th squeezes one past Michael Colodi on a counterattack. That made it 2-1 FC Dallas with just about 10 minutes or so to go in the game plus extra time. But in the 90th plus second minute, it was that man again.
Dallas set 4 players inside the 6-yard box. RSL keys the runs from around the penalty spot. They run towards the near post. Luna whips it in, headed away by Ibiaga. That's what he's in there to do. And now Sarver going the other way. Sarver splits 3 defenders. He's all alone into the RSL half. Here's Sam Sarver at full stretch. Sarver to seal it! And the shirt comes off again!
Sam Sarver, his second goal in as many weeks, and this one remains the winner. He locks it down for FC Dallas, 3-1 in the 90th plus second minute. And that's all she wrote for FC Dallas. So they pick up 3 goals and 3 points at home this evening. Let's go ahead and get you tonight's post-game stats. Those are brought to you by UMB Bank. Possession goes the way of the visitors, 67-33. Dallas with 11 shots, Salt Lake with 12, but Dallas 6 of those on target, just 3 on target for the Claret and Cobalt. 3 saves for Rafa Cabral, 2 saves for Michael Colodi, and what's probably the most misleading stat of the evening so far. You've got 13 fouls for RSL, 3 yellow cards, 15 fouls for FCD. 2 of those earned a booking from Joe Dickerson. And now we bring in our team that called this one, called the victory. It's Ryan Figert, and it's Steve Davis. And we talked in pregame, Ryan, about how important this one was, that it was a true 6-pointer, even though the fact it was in May. Well, we knew it was going to be exciting. I don't think we predicted exactly how, but it's mission accomplished for Dallas tonight as they pick up 3 points against a game Salt Lake team.
Yeah, I mean, this was a game in which Dallas came out strong in the first half. They were happy to concede possession, especially once they scored. And in a lot of ways, to me, it resembled the game last week against Red Bull New York, where they score early. This time they get the second goal to have a little bit more breathing room and concede. But then Sarver comes in and does what he does in terms of just giving them energy late in the game. And, you know, that I think he just got a taste of it last week, and he just wanted so badly to get that moment with the fans. We know the relationship that he's built with these fans here at Toyota Stadium, and that's a moment to savor for sure. You know, the shirt coming off, jumping into the crowd. It was the perfect exclamation point on a really important win tonight.
Yeah, it was important. You know, Dallas comes in to this game. They're approaching where they're just about halfway through with their home schedule. As of this Wednesday when they host Vancouver, they will be more than halfway through their home schedule, right? Picking up points at 1.4 a game coming into tonight. That is not a rate that playoff teams pick up points at home. So it was critical that they start collecting more points at home. Now they have 13 of a possible 24 at homes, and they're up to 1.6 points a game. And I'll tell you what was kind of impressive to me tonight, Ryan, just in the big picture. We know that Dallas got the dog in them, right? We know they're gonna win their share of duels. They're gonna do the physical stuff. They were really well organized tonight along the back line of that 2 banks of 4. That's what they defend out of, the 4-4-2. And they just didn't give RSL a lot until really the last 10, 15 minutes when RSL was literally playing like a 2-3-5 up there. So, you know, putting a lot of pressure, and, you know, we can nitpick a little bit about some things there, but when teams are throwing that many players forward, it's very difficult. And, you also let yourself be susceptible to exactly what happened, which is giving up to break the other way, which is how Dallas closed it out.
Yeah, Dallas tried to close it out once, and it was Shaq Moore who led the break, and there was 3 up there alongside him, and unfortunately he just slipped at a bad time, and then that leads to the RSL goal going the other way because you had 4 guys out of the play. Ended up being 4v4, and Luna takes advantage of that. In those types of situations, he can be so lethal. So they tried to steal it once, ended up conceding, but they didn't give up on that idea. They bring Sarver in, who's probably even better in that situation, just straight line running, pinned his ears back and went and got the goal to put things to bed. And I think huge credit defensively. The only moment you really feel like you're stretched is when you tried to go and kill the game off with 4 runners into the attack with a 2-goal lead. Maybe not something they'll do. Maybe you just need 2 or 3 guys in the attack there and you don't leave yourself light. But luckily tonight it's a lesson learned without any points dropped.
Yeah, you almost feel like everybody should have recognized that, look, this is either going to be Shaq ball to the back post into Sarver for a goal, or nothing's going to come of it. Everybody else just sit back and get ready to defend. But, now we're just talking about that. Sort of like we're talking about the weird Diego Luna moment. Is just sort of almost a funny thing in the game because really not much else going wrong for FCD tonight.
I want to follow up on something you said there, Steve, before we break down the big moments of this one. And something that I really noticed early in the match, and it kind of carried throughout, and you touched on it briefly, the communication on the field. You saw very early a lot of those guys talking to each other, and we've heard Eric Quill say before, this needs to be a talkative team. It needs to be a loud team. He said it in training. He said it to us when we talked to him after training. And today, especially early, you saw it all throughout the match, they're calling for balls. They're pointing out where to be. They were really – it's been the most noticeable I think I've seen it all season from them. And I think that's a really positive evolution that they're finally realizing, hey, if the more loud we are, the more organized we are, the better we are.
Well, I think the key there, Sam, is when you play a simple structure. 4-4-2 is – you said it in the pregame. It's the most basic formation, in soccer maybe. The roles are very defined, so the communication is sort of simplified there. So everybody sort of understands where they're supposed to be. Now, when you get into something a little bit more exotic, maybe tactically, it can help you in some different ways. But and moving in and out of formations, or inverted wingers, or outside backs that come into the middle, things like that. That's where you have to communicate. The communication becomes a little bit more complicated because the tactics are more complicated. But it's easier to communicate this way, and Dallas nailed it.
They really did. And Ryan, kind of working backwards here, which is not at all I anticipated doing this postgame show until about 10 minutes ago. The Sam Sarver goal, that's already a season highlight, I think. When we finish up the end of this season, that's going to be one you might as well just perma slap it on the 2026 highlight reel. And it's remarkable for 2 reasons. One, just the energy Sam Sarver brings in general, in scoring the goal, in celebrating the goal. It changes everything about this team. But 2, it's him fulfilling almost his destiny on this team on a certain level, because he comes in, and you said it during the broadcast, what's he here to do? Bring energy. He's here to bring a little bit of chaos, and he's been performing lately. He scores last week to seal the game. This week he beat 3 RSL players, including a guy that was asking for a foul for some reason. I still don't fully understand why. He gets through there, he knocks it past Cabral, and then the celebration is on. I mean, it's not just the victory that's important here, but that just felt like a big lift for a team that had just conceded a goal about 5 to 10 minutes, 7 minutes ago, that needed to shut that down.
Yeah, I mean, I love the caption that they used on Twitter. We are all witnesses to the Sam Sarver experience.
Yes, that's exactly correct.
You never know what you're going to get, and recently the dice has been rolling well for him. And the one thing is you can't teach speed, right? And that's such a weapon to have late in the game that as he continues to develop as a player, he's going to have that speed, and that's going to get him on the field in these types of moments. And I don't think there's anybody faster necessarily with the ball on this entire roster than Sam Sarver. We've seen some high sprint speeds from some of the center backs, from Osaze, from Ibiaga at times, Petter Musa when he gets out and running. But with the ball on the dribble, if you think about how Sam Sarver became the MLS Next Pro MVP, it was, I'm going to knock it past you, I'm going to pin the ears back, and I'm just faster than you. And he showed that he can take that with him to the next level tonight, albeit against some tired legs in the situation where it suited that exact type of player. But there's going to be that situation a lot of times this season, and they've got the perfect ace in the deck to turn to, and that's Sam Sarver.
Well, Katranos hadn't been in the game all that long, and he was the one that was really giving chase, so all the legs weren't tired. You make a good point, Ryan, and the other thing you really can't teach is just desire. And as Sam Sarver picks up that ball well in his own half, sort of with a quick touch out of his feet, he's got 3 white shirts around him, but he's got the desire in that moment to then sprint forward and beat everybody to it. Katranos is still chasing him. The other 2 just kind of give up. But then the desire to, hold them off and get that goal. And, Sam, you make a really good point in that getting that goal at the end sort of enlivens everybody, charges up the crowd, and now you walk into the locker room feeling like, all right, 3-1, we finish this game off. If you finish it off 2-1, it looks the same in the points, but if you finish it off 2-1, you walk into the locker room saying, whoo, well, we had a good first half, and then we hung on, right? Which is okay. There's nothing wrong with that, but no, when you go in and get that goal, you just feel like, okay, we've completed the night. We kicked the extra point. We put the cherry on the cake, whatever you want to say. And I think that's important for the team.
I fully agree with that. And, to kind of cross sports here for just a second, Hawk Harrelson, who used to call White Sox games, talked a lot about the concept when analytics were emerging. He developed something called TWTW, the will to win. And that was kind of his way to talk about the intangibles of a player, kind of the mentals. I'm not sure there's anyone on this club that has more TWTW than Sam Sarver. At the very least, he is oozing it. It is just that is him, like in 4 letters to describe him. He wants to win. He will do anything it takes within his power to do it, and we saw it here tonight. He was just an impressive player to seal the win tonight for FC Dallas.
Well, if there's another one that has that kind of, what did TW what?
TWTW, the will to win.
It's Kaike.
Yes.
I mean, what a game he had tonight, huh?
Yeah, I would say, Ryan, that, Sarver gets the cowboy hat. I think one of the first times we've seen the shirtless cowboy hat featured for FC Dallas. But
I was watching the voting going on in the communications group chat. It was definitely between those 2, but I think we knew what the people wanted, which was to see the Sam Sarver content. I think over the course of 90 minutes, though, Kaike is probably the man of the match. He gets the goal in the first half, but he did just a really good job of contesting every ball in the middle of the field. And when he's at his best, that's what he does. Adding the goal to his game, getting forward, had a second assist that didn't count last week, but really set up the clinching goal last week as well. So he's showing a little bit more going forward. And we mentioned in the pregame show how important he and Ramiro were going to be in shielding the back line, keeping it away from Diego Luna, and they did it really well. And I think Kaike, 41 touches in this game, comes away with the goal, 21 out of 24 on his passing, 4 out of 7 duels on the ground, 2 out of 2 in the air. Just really active all around tonight, and I think we're really starting to see him grow in front of our eyes week to week.
Well, and don't forget that on the first goal, he's the one that holds off, that wins a challenge inside the center circle, and he gets that whole thing in motion. So he's got a big hand to play in that first goal as well.
He and Musa both, Musa gets 1 assist, but they both really should get an assist on both goals for their contributions to it, because they set it up. And glad to see it Moreno as well getting on the score sheet for the first time. Felt like he was about due his first goal, and against the opponent he's had a lot of success with previously with Portland. He gets on the score sheet. Really good shot, sort of disguised through 2 defenders, kind of unsighting Cabral and making it difficult for him to react in time. And that's a huge moment for the Dallas number 10, as well as we're trying to get other people up and firing alongside the number 9.
Yeah, and I think, as we talk about the Moreno goal specifically, first off, it is good to see him open his account with Dallas, because he's been doing everything except scoring for them lately, and to see him finally get the goal is rewarding, Steve. But I think it speaks to kind of how this game ended up going. You win this game without a goal from Musa, without a goal from Farrington. You get it from 3 guys, that, in one case, 2 of them are supposed to score, in Moreno and Sarver. That's what they do. But you pick up 1 from Kaike as well, and that really bodes well for the overall development, because we were asking, hey, when Musa doesn't score, when Logan doesn't score, what does the team do? Tonight, they score 3 goals from other places and win. It's a positive development.
Yeah, for sure. You get goals through the season from your midfielders. You never really count on it in an individual game, right? You count on the attackers to get the goals. But a good team over the course of the year, your outside midfielders are going to chip in 3-4 goals, something like that. Central midfielders is going to come up with a couple of goals, and that's what Kaike does tonight. But by the way, you say Musa doesn't score, but he does have an assist on the first goal, and then he hammers that shot at Cabral that turns into the second goal. So even though Musa doesn't score tonight, mark that down as another pretty big match for him.
Oh yeah, this is not to denigrate his performance at all. It's more just about, and honestly, it's more encouraging for Dallas that he can have those nights where he can do the other things and you can still win without him being necessarily Superman. He got to be more like Batman tonight, almost in a certain way, or maybe even Robin, if you want to say it, in an associate role there. And Ryan, we're seeing now as we kind of zoom out a little bit, it's game 2 of this kind of 4-4-2 that Dallas is playing. The results are pretty nice. A 2-0 win against a Red Bulls team that's inconsistent, and now a 3-1 win against a Real Salt Lake team that we know is good. I do wonder, has Eric Quill for the second straight season made a mid-season formation switch that he kind of needs to stick with now because it's working?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting because it's different, but it's the same, right? And even shifting at the end of the game back to bringing in Ebiaga and going back to 5 at the back in air quotes, it really wasn't all that different. It was just about getting another body in there defensively. So it's different, but it's the same. I think it's about simplifying, right? And it's also about the absence of Bernard Kamungo. That's been the biggest tactical question that Eric Quill's had to answer this season, because you started with a really balanced starting 11, to open the year with the 2 strikers, with wingbacks on their strong sides. And once you lost Bernard Kamungo and you tried a few different guys, didn't feel like they were getting the job done at left wing back. That left wing back spot became the central focus of, okay, what do we do here? And the answer became, let's shift the formation a little bit, give a new guy an opportunity in Ron Benjamin, who's done some good work up and down that left side now, a couple straight weeks. And trust Nolan Norris, too, to play in a slightly different position. We saw him play there for, I think, 9 games last season as a true left back, and now he's playing a sort of hybrid role between the two, which really suits him, I think, well. And he had a